Both teams hungry for a win meet on homecoming in Richmond, Kentucky as 0-8 Utah Tech visits 3-4 Eastern Kentucky. From Roy Kidd Stadium, we welcome you to United Athletic Conference football. I'm Greg Stottlemyre along with Jim Tyree and Wes Chandler. For the second time this season, the Trailblazers have traveled east of the mighty Mississippi, searching for an elusive W. Utah Tech has lost 13 straight games, stretching all the way back to early October of last year. 385 days to be exact when they knocked off Stephen F. Austin. Tech made a coaching change at the end of last season, but Jim, its struggles continuing.
Yeah, Greg, Utah Tech has played from behind all season long. They've only led one time in Game 5 on their schedule for 80 seconds. That's it. It's been tough on both sides of the ball for them. They've struggled to score. They've struggled to stop the other team. Now, a little glimmer of hope, perhaps, last Saturday, Wes, in the 13-7 loss at home to Austin Peay.
Yeah, meanwhile, EKU is happy to be at home where it has been ahead for 150 of the 180 minutes in 3 games the Colonels have dominated. A stark contrast to the road where they are winless and never tasted the front of the scoreboard.
This is the second meeting ever between these two teams. Last year, 34-30 EKU win, coming down to that fourth down play as EKU made 4 straight stops in the red zone and escaped St. George, beautiful city, with a win.
And now, here we are, 364 days later, the Trailblazers have come 2 time zones and more than 1,800 miles east for football on a cool, windy, but perfect fall day here in the heart of the Bluegrass State. Wes Chandler, what happened on the toss of the coin? EKU obviously going to kick off.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky won and deferred, so Utah Tech will get the ball first.
Utah Tech has never won a game east of the mighty Mississippi, 0-5 all time, including a loss earlier this season in Florence, Alabama. They have the 3rd toughest Division I FCS schedule in over 5 years as a D1. They're 9-37. If they could get an upset win today, it would be a whopper of a victory for them. And their star receiver, Parker, is back for a return along with Nigel Osborne, a backup running back. And it is football time in the Commonwealth. Second ever meeting as Patrick Nations, who has been tremendous on kickoffs this year, putting all but 4 into the end zone for touchbacks. And a couple of them in the end zone returned. And he has the wind a bit into his face, and he wobbles it down the sideline short. And they pick it up dangerously at the 6, drop it, and in trouble, but a broken tackle up the sidelines to the 17-yard line. And that was much not like we've seen from Nations all year long, but the wind is a factor, Jim and Wes.
Yeah, it's gusting up to 16, I think it was at sometimes, Wes. 8 miles per hour steady coming out of the north, which is a little different for this stadium that we've seen so far this season.
All right, so you saw the wind, the factor there. That almost turned into disaster. Utah Tech will start from its own 16-yard line with Bronson Barbin getting his 3rd start of the year in his 4th game, a hometown kid out of Dixie High School in St. George. They've used 4 different quarterbacks. He'll look to pass out near side. It's tipped in midair and nearly intercepted. Great hand on the ball there by Cam Jr. getting the start today instead of Jaquez McGowan at the linebacker position because he's better in run support. He almost got a juicy pick right there.
Yeah, he was in a zone. He had the flat zone out on the side looking for a screen possibly. Didn't happen, so he just had to stay in his zone. Got a hand on the football.
Barbin, a 48% completion. Kirtle's coming hard off the edge. Barbin takes off. Good block, and he gets up to about the 23. Kirtle's trying to rip the ball away, can't. Tackle made by their leading tackler on the year, Braden Sullivan. He came in tied with Maddox Marcellus for team leadership.
Yeah, you see Barbin very quickly. He decides, I'm going to pull it down and run, and he does have that dimension of the game. He can bring it down, run the football. Doesn't do it very often, but is successful a lot of the time.
Not a team that has had success on 3rd downs. 3rd worst percentage at FCS at 23%. Barbin on the toss to the left. They need the 25. They get much more. And they'll move the chains on a toss sweep to the left side. And they went to Crowell. Kona Crowell, the 6-foot sophomore, and they moved the chains, and that has been EKU's defensive problem, stopping these 3rd down plays.
Yeah, look at the blocking by the wide receivers out there, both the slot and the outside guy. hold their blocks, make sure they're not holding, and they are able to open up the big tunnel for the running back.
From their own 16 to the 37, man in motion, dropped the pass as the pressure was coming. Now EKU's picked it up. Let's see if it'll count for a touchdown. Does Tisdale, wearing 6, get 6 here?
Yeah, they're going to call it a touchdown, Greg.
So we'll watch it again as Vito Tisdale, the son of the former frontman for Nappy Roots.
I think we're probably going to get this looked at. It doesn't seem like that it's a backward lateral.
But it came out of the belly.
Did it never hit the ground?
The receiver never hit the ground
there
from what
it
I
is.
saw.
And Ron Van was able to pick it out of midair and get to the end zone. And
no, it was Vito Tisdale.
Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry.
Tisdale getting his first touchdown, a second interception. If they rule it interception, maybe a fumble recovery. Looks like they're going to send this. Brandon McCain, the referee, up to the replay booth, and Jamie Grant.
Recovered by the defense, returned for a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
So it was called a fumble into the belly of the receiver, and it popped up. We'll get another look at it here.
This is from the sideline. Let's see if this ever touches the ground. Now, the ball is tipped. It does touch the ground, but is it backwards? I don't think it is.
I don't either.
I think that's going to be down, and it'll be an incomplete pass. Now, it will force Utah Tech into a punting situation.
And I was incorrect to say it was into the breadbasket of the receiver. It just hit the ground.
You know what this reminds me of, guys? The Music City Miracle from the Titans-Bills game the other back in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. Yep, you're exactly right. But
just by a couple of inches.
That ball hits the hands of the receiver, then hits the ground, and it's very obvious from the review. Now, the other thing they have to look at is it behind the line or from where the quarterback throws it. And you're not going to be able to tell anything from that angle, but the ball pops up off the turf. I think this will be ruled an incomplete pass looking at that sideline angle that we saw earlier.
Fourth most fumbles this year in FCS, 8, tied for 4th. 6 teams are tied with 8.
Here's another look at the sideline from there, the 32. I still think he's about a half yard out in front of it, and that'll be an incomplete pass.
Well, it's all up to Jamie Grant in cahoots with the referee, Brandon McCain, that's still under the hood, as you see there. On the other opposite side of the field, just underway in Richmond, 61 degrees, windy. And Tisdale certainly hoping the guy wearing 6 can celebrate 6. Eastern Kentucky has not had a defensive touchdown this year.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be looked at yet. Already out from underneath the headset.
Big decision early here. Communication situation. Looks like the referee having trouble to communicate. They had trouble in the first game here at Roy Kidd Stadium.
Video evidence shows that the result of the play is an incomplete pass. It's 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 13:49.
I think it's the right call.
Yeah.
And that's the way we called it right out of the gate, Jim.
Right.
And so, but again, you let the play out.
Exactly. If you need to go to replay, you always have that option to get the call right. I said 4th down. That was after the 1st down call, so it is 2nd down now.
So incomplete pass.
Give the Colonels credit, though, for making the run up the field to disrupt the path of the football.
There is the look at Bronson Barbin. Again, one of 4 quarterbacks and one of 2 from the hometown school. It's back up today, Reggie Graff. They've lost Deese Hill. Coming near side, pass down to get it, but well short, no gain, as it was caught out here on the left side by one of the running backs in a slot at Asa Chapman, the 5'11 freshman. You'll hear freshman, young team for their new head coach Lance Anderson coming over from Boise, year there after being with David Shaw until David retired at Stanford.
Yeah.
Dave Stevens into the lineup for EKU at Jack.
Yeah, played, coached 2 different areas, defense at Stanford, offense at Boise State.
3rd down and 10 from the 37 on territory. Picked up 1 on 3rd and long last time for Barbin. Barbin, pressure. Hit as he throws incomplete. Did he get out of the pocket? They say yes. But again, good pressure by EKU's line, led by Baker, and he also had pressure from Frank Lee, the Jack right here.
A lot of twisting, a lot of stunting on that defensive line to get pressure on Barban. And then the good coverage on the outside. Wilkes was in the area, so it was not intentional grounding.
First quarterback of the pressure for Frank of the year for Frank Lee the fourth. And he's the guy that had the hands on Barban. They'll have to punt, and Andy Day will come on high into the sky with the wind at his back. Montgomery will see it hit it to 22, take it on a bounce, stay in bounds dangerously, and get lassoed down at the 25, and that's where EKU will get its first offensive possession. 2 minutes and 2 ticks into this United Athletic Conference tilt.
Well, that was very, very brave or very, very reckless. It depends on the way you look at that. Coming up to field that after one bounce, and that coverage unit can just kind of tee off on you at that point.
40-yard punt there by Day. And now a look at Matt Morrissey. Started his Division I career at Northern Iowa. 5 games he played as a backup, then a starter last year for winless Western Illinois. 3 and 4 as a starter at Eastern. Tied in motion as they work from their own 25 right to left to Carter. Carter finding holes and getting off to the left side behind the left tackle, getting his 51st start in a row. Peyton Collins, tackle made by one of their top tacklers on the team in Brevin Hamblin, who averages almost 8 tackles a game. Also Fotu, the inside linebacker, who's number 3 on the team.
Well, Carter had the smallest little sliver of room and was able to make it.
Throw to the near side, caught by West, getting his second start. And Jaden West, a hometown kid from Madison Central High School here in Richmond, made the catch. Second start for him with the injury. Lost to the year, Jacob Dixon, and it goes for 10 and a first down.
Now, Eastern loves to use the sidelines, get out, make a nice stop patterns on the outside, screens as well.
This is Carter looking right side, nothing. Got whipped down at the line of scrimmage. Now they're going to give him a little bit of an edge out to the 41. And that was a really nice tackle from Malachi Fakahua, the 5'10 senior from St. George, same high school as those two quarterbacks, Dixie High School, transfer from BYU.
Held on for dear life after Carter got to the line of scrimmage.
Second down to the long nine, just over the 40. Morrissey coming to the near side of the tight end. Didn't get him much to Brown. Tight ends have been almost non-existent in this offense this year. And that catch by Brown will give him just a couple of more yards, and it'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, they ran the outside receiver on a slant to the inside, hoping that corner would take him, leaving the tight end open to get to the sideline, but the corner stayed right with Brown coming out of the slot.
Fisher Jackson, outside linebacker, made the tackle, another BYU guy. 3rd down and 8 for Morrissey, hanging in the pocket. Now he'll take off, but he's not a good runner, and he only got back to the line of scrimmage. Patient for a while, but took off a little too late there, Jim. And it was Willie Engelo who made the tackle out of Bingham High School in South Jordan, Utah. And after both teams get a first down on their first possessions, EKU will punt it away.
Yeah, way too late for him to get outside of the pocket after it starts collapsing. He had good protection. Good protection. It started breaking down at the very end, but Morrissey's got to make that decision quicker. Am I going to get out and run? The defense was able to compensate.
Redshirt freshman Baker will rugby into this one. 23rd in the country in punt yards, and a fair catch taken it to 22. So we have traded one first down and a punt for each team as we are scoreless, just shy of 5 minutes here in Richmond. First down on 10 on 22-yard line, scoreless. Utah Tech second chance for Barban on the RPO. Finds a little bit of a crease around the left side and a good first down gain of 6. Wes, it's an interesting breakdown for Utah Tech and the number of players they've tried to find the right combination.
Yeah, they're searching for answers in an 0-8 season. They've used a ton of players. There you see 4 different quarterbacks have thrown a pass. 14 different players have carried the ball. 16 different players have made a catch this year for Utah Tech.
A little hard to prepare for them. Here's Barban again, tossing it near side. Colonels have this one played well, and it'll go for 2 and work Utah Tech into a 3rd and short. Tackle made by the Jack Gabe Stevens, 6'4" redshirt junior out of North Carolina.
Well, they like those pitch plays, don't they? That's the second pitch play we've seen. One to the left, one to the right. Still able to get some running room. The key to that play is those wide receivers blocking on the outside. If they can block like that, you can get 2, 3, 4 yards and keep the sticks moving. That'll be a big key for the Trailblazers.
Already used 3 rushers today. 3rd down and 2. Now they'll send 2 receivers out to join another. 3 wide left, go right up the middle, and EKU has a gap that you could easily hit. And an easy first down. Good driving block by the center, Nolan Reynolds. They needed 2, they got 5, and they moved the chains before the tackle is made by Jeremiah Bailey. It was Crowell again, the 6-foot sophomore from St. George.
Yeah, nice job of clearing out the middle. When those wide receivers went in motion and went to a 3 set on the opposite side of the field, that opened up a little bit because the linebacker had to go with them.
Crowley to Reynolds, the 2 most veteran. Here is the quarterback draw. And EKU is playing the edges at a run for 9 by Barban. The freshman, same high school as the backup quarterback Reggie Graff.
Bailey goes too far upfield. Bailey a little bit too far upfield, trying to take the edge to get to the quarterback. And when that happens, Barban good enough to know I can take off up the middle, and he got positive yards.
Field comes into the lineup for EKU. They also run Jackson out and bring Frank Lee in. So 2 defensive substitutions. 3 down linemen this time for EKU. Actually, 2 have their hand in the ground. 2nd down and 2 for Utah Tech, scoreless. The 7:50 mark of the first quarter. Play clock down to 1. The snap to him. Quick slant pass. They don't mark the receiver, and he'll get to midfield and beyond by a yard as it is caught off the left side here, and they'll move the chains. It is Damani Wilkes, who is back for only his 4th game of the year.
The big key, though, that block by the big tight end in the slot, Eric Olson. He makes that block very, very close to offensive pass interference. You can't hold that block very long, and it allowed the slant to come open underneath.
6'5", 230, redshirt sophomore Olson. It'll be 1st and 10 from midfield as they crack enemy territory. This time a yard around the right side, maybe 2. Maddox Marcellus with the tackle and teammates there. Bailey was in the territory. Chapman was the one that carried the ball. They've used Crowell and Chapman and Stone today.
See him coming on a double running back set, 1 to either side of the quarterback, and then they bring it to the right side, which is where the linebacker had cleared out of because somebody went in motion to the opposite side of the field.
Keep Chapman in at running back. Interesting formation, 3 spread out receivers close to the tackle. 1 goes in motion in Parker, and they throw it out and dropped an open receiver at midfield with room to run for Asa Chapman and the Californian out of Murrieta Valley.
They get Tisdale on a corner blitz. Tisdale just able to get into the face of the quarterback enough to make him kind of adjust it, and the ball wasn't very smooth getting out there to Chapman.
Played at Kentucky for a couple of years and then toward ACL his 3rd. Crowell stays at running back, and they are 3rd down at 8 today. Facing this one at the Colonel 48, scoreless. A lot of time to throw, and the receiver making a cutback just beyond the yard to gain at the 38 slips and falls. And it was Daniel Thomason who couldn't keep his balance, and the Colonels will force the 2nd punt.
Yeah, he got busy hand-fighting Tisdale there. You don't see it on the replay, but they're hand-fighting all the way down the sideline, and when he finally gets that separation to curl back to the quarterback, he slips and falls because he's more preoccupied with that hand-fighting with Tisdale. So give Tisdale some credit there.
Montgomery for the punt return if he gets a chance. They almost got to him and run in. They say it was tipped, so it will not be running into the kicker. And they are going to down it, though, with a fortuitous bounce at about the 2.5-yard line.
The referee threw the flag, but they're talking about it.
But then the other official gave tip indication.
And that's the discussion.
There's no foul for running into the kicker. The ball was tipped. First down, East Kentucky. Timeout.
For a ball that was tipped, what a great punt. Colonels have the football, 6:08. First quarter, we are scoreless in Richmond.
Next.
Buying college textbooks can feel like a nightmare.
Next.
Long lines, lost time, and inflated prices.
And that's lunch.
But for EKU students, Booksmart is a dream come true. Stress less with 100% free textbooks at EKU.
And at the half, the EKU leads state 21-7.
I love the way these look.
Thanks.
Yeah, go Colonels.
Is it here? Hey, Coach. It's right here, but shouldn't you be at the game?
Carry your favorite team with you everywhere you go with a new EKU branded debit card from CG Bank. No matter what season it is, always show your Colonel pride.
Has anyone seen Coach?
This is living proof that there can be life beyond cancer. At Baptist Health, we've treated more patients with breast, colon, and lung cancer than any other health system in Kentucky and southern Indiana. Early detection can help lead to better outcomes. To find out more about our cancer risk assessments and early screening options, visit baptisthealth.com/cancercare.
Back at Roy Kidd Stadium, and EKU with their second opportunity to go on offense. No score here. Top targets this season for Matt Morrissey at quarterback have been Daquan Stanley with 24 receptions, 365 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Marcus Cowwise in the slot, 24 catches, 276 yards, and a touchdown. But Wes, Daquan Stanley, a little bit of an injury. Not sure if he'll go too much today.
Yeah, so we'll see if Cowwise's role steps up here in this afternoon's game.
That punt, even though it was tipped all the way to the 2-yard line and Eastern out of the end zone, handoff to the running back off to the left from Morrissey. They went Carter first time, and they'll stay with Joshua Carter here second time as well. Latham has seen his production per game over the last 3 games dip by 2/3. Cowwise now in the slot. Again, Stanley with a little bit of shoulder. We'll see if he plays today. Was dressed, did warm up. Colonel's got 2, second at 8 scoreless during the 5.5-minute mark of a first quarter that's produced punts so far rather than points. Carter finds it all, and then they trip him, but he got enough for the first down. Picked up 10 on the play, and they moved the chains away from the end zone as they work towards the north.
Nice little move by Cowwise. Cowwise came inside almost to an H-back spot and then goes up and makes a block, but it makes that guy at safety think that possibly he's going to run that seam route. Opens things up opposite side on the right side. Big hole for Carter.
Clock hits the 5-minute mark, scoreless in the first 15. Morrissey comes right in danger to Cowwise. Boy, he was well covered, but made the catch out to the 17. Tackled by Scooter Jackson. West, a little bit more on Cowwise.
Yeah, Marcus Cowwise, the reigning UAC Freshman of the Week after career high in catches and yards, including that first career touchdown at the college level. A little bit surprised that he was UAC Freshman of the Week. Said obviously it's a huge honor. Got his picture on the big board here out on the EKU campus.
Second down and 7, and flags fly. Illegal procedure against EKU.
Looked like the left side.
False start. Offense, number 58, 5-yard penalty, second down.
So Isaiah Bunn with the false start. His third of the year. No, it's his first of the year. Tyrell Green playing on the right side's had a pair of false starts, but EKU finally avoided penalties. Watch a little, and look at him like slapping his hands together. I'm mad at myself.
He knew he got caught.
Little glitch there. Second down and 12 now. Carter trying to find a hole. Right side, broken tackle. Got to the second level and saving tackle there by Brevin Hamblin. Hamblin coming in, 7.8 tackles a game, 55th in the country. Carter almost broke this one long. As he
I'm sorry, Greg. How
got
patient
out of Jackson's
is he?
tackle. Jackson had the first shot.
Yeah, he's so patient. Has to get off that first initial block, makes the crevice, and then shoots upfield. Just so patient.
Third down and 2 for EKU to keep the drive alive. And it'll be Carter, and they don't get it against a porous defense, or do they? Well, they give him a pretty good spot. It looks like they're going to move the chains.
For the first time all season, I think they got a right-footed spot from that guy across the field.
Yeah, I tell you, well, let's wait and see if they're going to give him the first down or not. I thought they gave the indication to move the chains, and a little bit of a push there, and it will be a first down. Woo, I don't know about that one.
He got close. I mean, it's real difficult to see when all the bodies get tangled up, but I think he may have made the stick.
I think the line judge was right on top of it. The best position to see it. Now Morrissey with a new set of downs. Moving away from their own 2, crossing pattern, and the catch by Ron Van Jr. out of Chula Vista, California, through New Mexico State and Reedley College. And he is lassoed down by Malachi Fakahua out of St. George, the 225-pound senior, one of 14 players on the roster from St. George, the beautiful town in southern Utah.
Cal Wise has made a living out of that underneath crossing route this season. He's been open a lot there.
Montgomery into the running back, so is Latham. Handoff to Montgomery at Eastern Kentucky with short yardage there to the 28. Works their way into third down to medium range. Tackle made by Jared Fotu. Had a career-high 13 tackles last year in the loss to Eastern Kentucky.
Morrissey has to make up his mind quickly here. Third and mid-range, is there going to be that receiver open? Do I make a check down or do I run the football? You cannot sit back there to make that decision all day.
Stack of receivers to the right. Morrissey to pass. Sets in the pocket. Open receiver right up the hashes. Setting down and waiting for delivery. And they got it right to Ron Van Jr. to move the chains at EKU with 3 first downs to steadily here with this play get their third first down and come up away from their own 2.
You saw Van come into your picture there. He just sat down right in a little hole in the zone, right in the middle of the field. Just made his way there, sat down, waited for the ball. If Morrissey sees him a little bit earlier, he could have turned and got upfield.
Already 2 catches today, 3 is high at a game. Morrissey all kinds of time, but he delays and doesn't throw the ball and gets sacked. That's on the quarterback right there. And the tackle made by John Sniffen, the 6'3 senior out of Alo, Hawaii. And I butchered that probably. I'm not very good on this Hawaiian name.
If they've got a lot of vowels in there, you and I both have problems with those, but a very nice job of getting off his block to get the sack.
I do know where he's from. It has a nice sandy white beach. Good handoff to Carter, and he races on third and a bunch. 2nd and 16 make it third and manageable all the way up to the 44-yard line as we are inside the last minute of a scoreless first quarter. EKU unable to score yet against a team that gives up the 4th most points in FCS football at 43.8 a game.
I mentioned how patient Carter is as a runner. He's also got the ability to shoot a gap and get into it quickly to get upfield to the 2nd and 3rd level.
EKU looking for its 4th straight third down conversion. The throw and incomplete. In between the hashes to Hunter Brown.
Well, this was the knock last week on Morrissey when he had the 3 interceptions against Abilene Christian, he locks into receivers. I mean, just deadlocks into them. Here's another look at it, but watch him stare down the receiver here, and he's just trying to thread a needle he's not going to be able to get into. He has the flat wide open with Carter on the opposite side. He could have picked up the first down and been into enemy territory.
Scooter Jackson, nice pass deflection because he saw where Morrissey was staring down. And now a punt for Baker. Low liner into the wind. Going to hit it to 15, take a big maroon and white bounce, and going to run out of pigskin petrol at the 6-yard line. 50-yard punt by Baker. We have a timeout. Nobody scored here in the first quarter. Back after this on ESPN Plus. Wind at a steady 16 miles an hour, blowing for at least 4 more seconds of this first quarter at the back of Bronson Barbin and Utah Tech. 0-8 on the year. They have 51 yards, a pair of punts. EKU 64 yards, a pair of punts. And now Barbin on the quarterback draws. He looked left, and they've gone to a new quarterback, so it's Reggie Graff, and that will end the first quarter. Neither team getting it going offensively. We'll go to the second 15 when we return to Richmond, Kentucky with United Athletic Conference football on ESPN+. Off to the second 15 we go in a scoreless game here. Both teams have punted twice. New quarterback in. Opponents' last 2 games, EKU hadn't been able to get the other team off the field very well, Jim. That's been a challenge today, though. On third down conversions, a little bit better. 2 of 4 for Utah Tech. Second down and 4 here. Running back, first down more, right up the middle. Again, the trenches have not been solid for EKU in the last 3 games, as they have used Kona Crowell more than anybody at running back today. He'll move the chains as they work from their own 6 of a pair of runs out to the 20-yard line, and now an illegal procedure called right out of the gate by the head linesman. And it was on Shernette Estes, the Colorado transfer out of Austin, Texas, Lake Travis High School. That'll back him up into 1st and 15. So new look at another quarterback like the starter Barbin Ingraff out of Dixie High School in St. George. He has fumbled 6 times, lost 3. Play action. No, they've gone back to Barbin, and he delivers out on the right side over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Hung in there. Tackle made by Frank Lee, but they moved the chains. They've come away from their own 6s. Barbin returns and completes it for the second time. That one to Rios. Rios is a 6-foot freshman from Golden, Colorado.
Caught the Colonels in a zone out there, but somebody didn't take that middle spot, and Rios able to get very open on the slant.
27 yards, his only catch of the year for 7. Play action. Throw it off to the same player to midfield. Dragon Colonels can't want to, and Eastern may have gotten a face mask on the tackle. This is a team coming in 4th lowest points in the country at FCS, and Barbin looking good for a freshman.
I'll tell you what the key has been is those outside receivers. Those receivers in the slot and the outside blocking well.
Jaheim Ward, and boy, he has been a penalty machine, unfortunately. Well, against Southern Utah, he had a PI, a face mask, and a personal foul. That's his 3rd personal foul of the year.
See him on the sideline there getting it from Coach Walt Wells, and he's just trying to get off his block and get a hold of the guy catching the pass, and it got his hand, unfortunately, up into the grill.
6 major penalties on him alone. Out to the right side, 1 broken tackle, and they moved the chains further downfield to the 30-yard line, and it was to the tight end this time, Jay McEwen.
Little outside bleeder. Tight end moving out from the H spot. Wide open for the catch, and Colonels have had some issues in open space today in wrapping up and making the tackles. Coming in, Lance Anderson told me they had trouble making tackles. Today, so far, it's been the Colonels wrapping up.
Fletcher Tappan Field come in, 3 changes defensively, 1 wide out each way. Tight end to the right. Here comes Crowell breaking tackles down the sidelines. Really didn't even need to break a tackle. He just ran inside the 10-yard line, and it's Chapman instead of Crowell. Asa Chapman, the 5'11 freshman, and young freshman making Eastern Kentucky's defense look porous.
Yeah, Braden Sullivan gets caught too deep, can't get off that block. The outside corner can't get off the block from the wide receiver out there, and I believe that was a tight end out there in Falai, and just can't get off those blocks, and those running backs are going to get free downfield if you can't shed the block.
Falai's 2nd game back after being injured in the season opener against Montana State, and they are goal to go at the 10. Barbin following blockers to the 7 around the right side. And the tackle made by Marvion Field, transfer from Elon through Gyra Prep.
They're running a lot of designed runs for the quarterback. Barbin is just able to take the snap, make his way downfield, had a wall of blockers that time, got positive yards.
Ward comes back in the secondary. Marcellus back in at linebacker as Sullivan leaves. And it's 2nd and goal. Crowell back in at running back. 2 receivers stacked left, and Thomason and Parker started this drive from their own 6-yard line. And now as they switch sides, a quick timeout called by the head coach Lance Anderson in his first year.
That first. This will be a full media timeout.
So we'll take it with them. Utah Tech threatening against Eastern Kentucky, looking upset east of the Mississippi on ESPN+.
Whoa. Before you do that, where's the gas line? And where's your wallet? Because you hit a gas line and it's going to cost you. Not to mention that it's also very dangerous. Okay, where's your phone? Good. Now call 811 before you dig. One call, and you'll know where to dig every time. So, no problems, no fine. And, oh, it's the law.
A drunk driver was driving under the influence, going 127 miles per hour. He was caught for his third DUI that night. You know, you always hear all these stories about wrecks and drunk drivers, but you never think it could happen to you until it does. He left that scene without a scratch while my family suffered.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, forget about X's and O's. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. Touchdown! And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
I'll take these and a Ghostbusters game, please. On second thought, maybe just the Ghostbusters game?
Ghostbusters lottery games are here. Scare up big cash prizes online or at your favorite Kentucky Lottery retailer.
Funding more than $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
Moving away from their own 6 in a scoreless game, 11:45 to go. Now down at the EKU 7 is Utah Tech. Lost last week, just 13-7, showing signs of improvement despite being winless. Barbin, straight drop, pressure on him. Junior had a hand on him, couldn't get him. Barbin sets, throws back of the end zone, incomplete left side. Covered all the way by Vito Tisdale.
Yeah, I think Tisdale got into him a little bit too. Could have been called for pass interference, but the pass was so high. Taking another look from the end zone, I don't think this is a catchable ball, and they let everything go. But just a little bit of contact there before the ball got down.
Parker was the intended receiver. It's 3rd and goal. In the red zone this year, 64% on touchdowns, 73% on points. 3rd down and goal from the 7, scoreless early in the second. Barbin, 2-step drop, throw to the back of the end zone, incomplete. Thomas never turned around, and it was intended out there on the right side for Falai. Good to see him back in after being injured in game 1.
If you're going to throw this, Barbin has to get that up a little bit, and the route needs to come a little bit more either inside or toward the back corner. Good coverage by Thomas, even though he didn't get his head around.
With the wind in his face, he's 2 of 6 on field goals. Here's Ilya Uvadov looking for his 3rd field goal of the year. It'll be a 25-yarder for the right-footed kicker to break the scoreless tie. High on the snap, kick is up, and it is good. They have not been ahead in a game except for game 5 for 80 seconds. They're now ahead at 11:29 of the second quarter against Eastern Kentucky. And boy, it has not been a good start for the maroon and white on homecoming.
Did you see the wind hold that ball up? That was crazy.
But he got it through the uprights for his 3rd field goal and his first that was inside 30 and beyond. Well, you take a look at what Utah Tech has done, unable to find the lead, came in here.
Utah Tech player number 22 is now wearing number 68.
Played through the first 480 minutes of action without a win. Add in, what is it, Jim? Almost 18 more minutes, 498 minutes, and they've only led for 80 seconds. Well, now they've got a lead. Let's see how long they can hold it here. EKU's got some work to do defensively right now as they gave up a long drive, Jim. It was a long, impressive drive.
I think you have to give them a little credit for bowing their back, though, once they got down inside the 10 and it was goal to go. So they do stiffen up a little bit.
Short kickoff. Latham up the middle, finding a gap over the 40. Not a deep kickoff man. Is their kickoff man Vadov at Eastern Kentucky in a 3-0 hole. On homecoming, we'll go back to work at 11:24 in the first half.
10 plays, 87 yards, 3 minutes and 35 seconds on the drive for Utah Tech. They went a long way. Remember, they started that inside their own 5-yard line.
Here comes Matt Morrissey back on the field. He's 5 of 6 through the air for 25 yards. Latham will be at running back after the kick return there by Latham. Tackled by Alveo. Two-step drop, swing it out of the backfield to Latham. He'll rumble down the sidelines at EKU past midfield for the first time today, thanks to the good starting position. And they'll get it down to the Utah Tech 46, down 3-0.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a play like that, just a little swing pass out of the backfield to get somebody going that's not been going up until this point.
25-yard return to the 48, and here's Morrissey throwing it away. As he came out of the backfield, I had a man right in his face. I think it was Fisher Jackson, the BYU transfer, with the pass pressure there. He's had 2 quarterback sacks on the year, second in tackles for loss with 4.5. It'll be second and 10 for EKU on the positive side for the first time at their own at the 46.
That was an RPO play, and Morrissey probably should have let the running back have that, let Latham have it and get around the opposite end.
Morrissey deep drop, lets it fly between 3-4 guys, and let's see if we're going to get a look at a targeting here. The catch, the third of the day, to equal a season high by Ron Van Jr. What did you see, Jim?
Yeah, he got his bell rung pretty good at the very end of that. He held on to the football, too. That's crazy, but he took a shot, and it...
Not going to be a target. It's going to be pass interference offensive against Hunter Brown. That's their second major penalty today. Jim, EKU is in game 8 as we see the play here, and they have now had 35 major penalties this year.
Just a little rub play, and they call Brown for the offensive pass interference on the rub.
Waltwell's not happy with the officials, walking down, shouting out on the field. Walking the side judge back up the field. It's a couple of times EKU has been hit on a rub play, happened near the goal line at Southern Utah as well. Now all of a sudden EKU charging downfield back at its own 39. They started this drive at their own 42. Now they are second and 25 after the penalty on Brown. Ground Latham never got out of the tracks, no gain. Jim, this is an offense that has been inefficient today against a team that gives over 500 yards a game.
Yeah, and probably going to lose a yard on that one. So.
Sniffin was right there, sniffing it out.
Watch him come off the block, comes around the pile, sniffing around the pile and waiting for him when Latham gets the football. So able to get off his block very quickly.
Lost a yard back to the 38. And the grumbling in the stands is going to start here if EKU doesn't get going down 3-0. Send a runner out of the backfield. Morrissey takes off. A little bit of running room. And he only got up to the 45.5, maybe the 46. At Eastern Kentucky will have to punt it for the third time in a row. Yeah. And it was that big inside linebacker, Faka Ua, who made the tackle.
And that's a designed run. There's not a lot in the playbook for 3rd and 26. So you either throw a screen pass, which Utah Tech would have probably been waiting for, or you let Morrissey do something on a designed quarterback run, and he got about, I'd say half of it.
EKU started at their own 42, got across midfield, and then the big pass interference play on a complete pass against Brown moved him back. And they get the snap off just in time, and Baker puts it high but short with the wind at his back, and it hits at the 10 or at the 8, and then it is picked up as it bounces back towards the punter. and take it out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. A 47-yard punt by Baker. Southern Utah with a rare lead, 3-0, 9-12 first half. Ball back when we come back on ESPN+. Eastern Kentucky in their 4 road losses have never been ahead in any of the games. They're not ahead today, even though, look at that, they've only been behind coming into this game 5 minutes and 9 seconds at home and mostly ahead. Not today. They're down 3-0. And a toss sweep to the right side. And again, as they go to Chapman, they have used Osborne, Crowell, and Chapman, and the running game has kept EKU off balance. Even though Barban is only 5 of 12, the running game has done it, and they have outdone Eastern Kentucky about 134 to 82 on yards and lead 0-0 as we go to 9 minutes in the first half.
I'm kind of wondering if they're setting something up with all these pitch plays. That's the 3rd or 4th pitch play we've seen to the outside. They could set something up where Barban keeps it and throws it downfield once they commit.
This time he will throw out to the right edge and well short. EKU had 3 players coming towards him and may have gotten a deflection on the pass to the left side. And now Utah Tech on the tip there will be forced into 3rd down and long. And it was, who was it that got the hand on it?
Jaquez McGowan coming on the blitz from the outside.
Tennessee Tech transfer, didn't get the start today. They started junior. They've almost got to Barban a couple of times, but he's been pretty nifty.
Yeah, he's been able to escape, and they've had some designed runs for him, so you're thrown off a little bit as a defense, especially as a blitzer.
Eastern Kentucky jumped off sides, no contact, get back on. Now Barban gets the snap. Now a flag comes down.
I think it's going to go the other way.
They were facing 3rd and 7, false start. So the false start on Nolan Reynolds. They're 6'5", 295, redshirt junior center from Riverside, California. There it is right there.
Just a little bit of a glitch right there as he gets ready to snap the ball.
Eastern Kentucky penalized 3 times, 35 yards. Second for 10 yards against Utah Tech. And it'll be 3rd down at 11 here.
Now you got them behind the sticks. This is where Eastern Kentucky's defense, last 2 games, not been able to get off the field. You have to get off the field here.
Barban throws it away down the left side, just launched it into his bench. Flag comes down.
How late are you going to throw that? I mean, my goodness.
Pass interference against Eastern Kentucky.
Jordan Thomas.
Well, the Players in the secondary, we've seen Jaheim Ward with his 6th major penalty of the year, and Jordan Thomas is racking up penalties well. He has now had 7 major penalties this year.
Gabe Stevens getting free to come in and hit the quarterback from behind, too. So Barbin takes probably the first solid shot he's taken all game, even though they have been able to get a little pressure on him. But Thomas hand fighting all the way down the sideline. You know, you got to determine if that's catchable or not. They say Thomas impeded the wide receiver's progress.
There's movement up front this time. Another false start, says the center judge. Rashad Lewis saw it.
Everyone but the center.
I love it. Everyone but the center. Fire drill. Bryce, Hicks, Crowley, and Maggio all moved.
See, the Colonels are running somebody up almost in a linebacker blitz every single down. They've sent Maddox Marcellus. They've sent Jaquez McGowan. They've sent Sullivan before in this game. So they're giving a lot of different looks to this offensive line of Utah Tech.
First down and 15, Utah Tech. Past 8.5 in the first half. Left-handed quarterback back in, and Graff throws it away.
Now, I said a moment ago that they were trying to set something up. Well, they were trying to set something up with the quarterback runs there. They fake the run as Barbin comes toward the line, almost like the old Tim. Yeah, there's another look as he makes his way toward the line, then throws it out, but he overthrows the ball. The Tebow run that they had at Florida, where he comes toward the line and then jump passes over.
Well, that was Graff that threw that one, the left-handed quarterback. Now Barbin back in. Second down and 15. Pair of false starts have hurt them. A PI hurt EKU. Now Barbin. He'll take off and run after the pocket collapses on him. It'll get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be third of the bunch. And the tackle by Jeremiah Bailey out of Smyrna, Tennessee.
Watch the pocket collapse here. Only rushing 3. So the Colonels only rushing 3, sending 8 back in coverage, and they are able to get the pressure, enough of it to make Barbin step up and take the no-gain tackle.
Colonels playing this series so far without Braden Sullivan, one of their top tacklers. Had a stinger last week against Abilene Christian, being examined on the sideline right now.
Need to get it out to the 33, 3rd and 15, trips to the left. Barbin throws long, incomplete. I think the player had stepped out of bounds anyway because the hat comes off the line judge, indication he would have been an illegal receiver at EKU after giving up a first down on a PI. They were trying to go downfield to the guy. They're glad to get back in, and that's Eni Valai out of Boston, Massachusetts, a UMass transfer. This has been a game where EKU has been across midfield once. They've been across midfield twice. This will be the 3rd punt of the day, along with a field goal on the board for a 3-0 lead for Utah Tech. High in the sky, but the wind holding it up like a brick wall, hitting it to 45, going lateral, and it keeps rolling back to the 43-yard line, and EKU will take it in plus territory as we have a flag down, 2 of them on the field. It has been a flag-infested couple of minutes here.
I think it's going to be a hold.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 21. That 2-yard penalty is enforcing the kick. First down, East Kentucky. Timeout.
So Jalen Houston with the illegal hold. Timeout. 7:28 to go in Richmond, quarter 2. Utah Tech 3, EKU 0.
Hey guys, it's Ashley. Sorry I missed your call. Please leave me a message.
That's Ashley's voice that I hear. And that's the only thing that the drunk driver has left me with. The police officer said that my daughter had been killed by a drunk driver. And he placed my daughter's necklace and my daughter's ring in my hand, and he closed my hand. That gentleman was the coroner. That's when I knew that my daughter was gone.
Next.
Buying college textbooks can feel like a nightmare.
Next.
Long lines, lost time, and inflated prices.
And that's luck.
But for EKU students, BookSmart is a dream come true. Stress less with 100% free textbooks at EKU.
This is living proof that there can be life beyond cancer. At Baptist Health, we've treated more patients with breast, colon, and lung cancer than any other health system in Kentucky and southern Indiana. Early detection can help lead to better outcomes. To find out more about our cancer risk assessments and early screening options, visit baptisthealth.com/cancercare.
Eastern Kentucky trailing Utah Tech 3-0 by the numbers. Colonel scoring 21 a game, giving up 27, but haven't been able to get much going here today. Just 82 yards in the first half. Would have had it on the plus side of the field after a short kick into the wind, but a hold by Jalen Houston, and they start at their own 48. They've had 3 major penalties, 56 yards in penalties. Stick with Morrissey at quarterback. Good patience by Carter for the hole to open. And Josh Carter carries it down to the 29 for 23 yards. Kyle Parker, playing in his first game, a defensive back, makes the tackle.
Watch how patient he is. Just jitterbugs a little bit, skitters to the left, then to the right, then able to explode through the hole.
First down and 10 from the 30. Colonel's in a hurry-up change of pace for Carter, following blockers to the 27.
Yeah, a little bit too patient that time. He was not able to hit that hole once it opened up on the outside between the two blockers. You had the offensive lineman on the edge to come out in Munlin, and then you had the wide receiver blocking as well. Just not able to squirt through there with the explosiveness that he had the play before.
Carter, 10 carries for 67 yards, had 125 in the narrow win against Utah Tech last year. 6.5 to go, first half. Colonel's down 3-0. Wide open receiver caught at the 17 down to the 12-yard line. And a career-high 4 catches today already for Ron Van Jr.
Watch how wide open he is here. I mean, just nobody around him. He just sat down underneath a very deep zone, cover 2, way down the field are the safeties. Just sat down underneath of them.
41 yards and 4 catches. Colonel's tempo catching Utah Tech in trouble. Trying to follow big blockers left side. Carter patience, but it doesn't reward him. He got 2 before LeJay, who's getting a start today at safety with the injuries. Again, they're coming without their number 2 safety, Jagger Williams, their top safety, Gabriel Valenzuela, and their top cornerback, one of their top 2 cornerbacks in Jaden Sheridan, not playing today, and EKU hadn't put a point on the board against a riddled defense in the secondary. Morrissey is 7 of 9 through the air, and the Colonel's driving for a go-ahead score down 3-0. Take it from the 12-yard line. Carter up the middle, break a tackle. He carries guys with him just shy of the goal line to the 1-yard line. That'll give him a new set of downs, knocking on the doorstep of a lead. Hamblin made the tackle. 10 yards, and they move the chains.
Look how long he waits here. I mean, just waits forever and then steps through, able to make his way down to the goal line. That was nice blocking on the left side that time.
Zach Russell in to block it tight end left. Carter 78 yards to the ground in the first half. Clock tips underneath 5 minutes. Colonel's looking to go ahead. Snap to Morrissey. Carter into the end zone for a touchdown. And EKU takes a 6-3 lead at the 4:42 mark. For Carter, 7th touchdown of the year. And as running back for EKU is 14th. He was a linebacker at South Alabama, the younger brother of Michael Carter. Played for the Jets after coming out of North Carolina and now out in Arizona.
Big Vincent Munlin paving the way. He has blocked extremely well in the second quarter.
It was Carter, a big dose of Carter. All started with his 23-yard run. Here's Nations for the PAT. Had 2 blocked last week. 1 made it through the uprights. This one untouched. 7-3 Eastern Kentucky. And so Eastern Kentucky back on top after they were behind from the 11:29 mark down to the 14:42 mark, so about 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Wes Chandler, a little bit more about Carter.
Yeah, guys, Josh Carter, coming out of high school, is recruited for his mastery at stopping running backs as a linebacker about 6 years ago. He set his high school's record for tackles and sacks. Despite his numbers, many schools overlooked him because of his height and weight at that position. Carter became more into weightlifting at the position. South Alabama decided to give him a preferred walk-on spot after playing just 10 games the freshman year. They offered him a scholarship. Shortly after that, an ACL injury that ended his season. A new staff brought in a new coaching staff. He switched positions to running back. His brother's always a huge part in closing in on 2,000 yards. Jim has the drive summary.
Yeah, well, 6 plays, 52 yards, 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Greg, 5 out of the 6 plays in the drive were Josh Carter runs. The only other play was a Morrissey throw.
Kickoff will go almost through the goalpost as Nations has been so good at touchbacks. Had one held up by the stiff wind today, but here we go. 7-3 Eastern Kentucky going to get about just under 7 minutes of on front of the scoreboard after only 1:20 in Game 5. The only other time Utah Tech has been ahead. So now they've got to play from behind, down 7-3 at 4:42.
Yeah, I think the Colonels decided on that drive, look, we're going to run the football. And the one pass play was a good one. It was the 15-yard pass play to Ron Van Jr. But they decided, look, let's go to our bread and butter. And the rushing game has been their bread and butter this season.
So now they have been ahead for 8 minutes, 12 seconds on the season, and back at it with Barban at quarterback. Quarterback draw again. They're using that to keep EKU honest. And from their own 25, they'll get about 3.5. Gabe Stevens will make the tackle. He had a teammate right with him there in Jeremiah Bailey.
I may have been watching the wrong tape because I didn't know Barban was going to run this much when we came into this game. They have a lot of design runs for Barban at the quarterback position. He'll make that look like he's going to throw over the middle, and then he just drives right up the field.
Lance Anderson has all new coaches on his staff as a new coach except one, and that's the running back coach. Off the hands of the running back, Kona Crowell, leaking out of the backfield left, and they'll be in 3rd down and 6 now at their own 29-yard line, down 7-3 at 4:06 of the first half.
Bryce Parker at the end of this becomes a defensive player. I mean, he has to keep the EKU defender away from the football in Shaheem Ward, so he becomes defender after the pass has been tipped because it's all Katie bar the door after the ball's been touched.
136 yards of offense by Utah Tech, 134 by EKU, 7-3 EKU. Tight end McEwen goes in motion right now, sets. Play clock down to 0, and did they get the timeout? Yeah, they got it. Back judge had thrown the flag, but they already got the timeout before that as one of the judges down the side was running down to indicate that Lance Anderson saw it coming. 7 schools, 27 years as a coach. Last year at Boise State, a senior analyst after he was at Stanford first under Jim Harbaugh and then under David Shaw. Long time out at Stanford from 2007 to 2022. The last 9 years, defensive coordinator. I know you loved talking to him earlier this week.
He was fantastic and just gave me as much time as I needed. Said, hey, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about some football. Was very magnanimous and just loved talking football with him. And he was all the way down, Greg, near the 40-yard line on the other end of the field when he called that. He was by himself with the field judge.
Here's a 3rd down and 6. Colonel's trying to get Trailblazers off the field here, and they've got the first sack of the day. Ball comes loose. It's scooped. Marcellus with the return. If it will stay, it'll be a strip and score. Gabe Stevens caused it. Barban is sacked, and the Colonels turn it in to a 13-3 lead.
Gabe Stevens has been unstoppable the last 3 plays. Watch him get off the edge, got around the offensive lineman, and they may look at this, Greg. It looked as if Barban might have been down on the ground when that ball pops loose. So they'll take All the scoring plays are always reviewed. They'll take a good look at this before they allow the Colonels to kick the extra point.
So Jamie Grant in the replay booth goes to work. Right now the scoreboard still says 7-3. If it stands, it'll be 13-3.
Barman, the long stretch. Stevens hits him. Watch it. He's on the ground. That's close. It's bang, bang. Not sure you can overturn it with what's called on the field. That's the key.
It'll be a quarterback sack, nevertheless.
Recovered by the defense and returned for a touchdown. The previous play, some further review.
Boy, he just flat whipped Rambo Maggio, the right tackle.
Yeah, just coming around that edge. Like I said, been unstoppable the last 3 plays. Been a force to be reckoned with, and that time able to get to the quarterback. And I think the issue, Greg, does Barban have control of the football as Stevens is wrapping him up? Barban never saw Stevens coming until it was too late. Does he get control of the football as he falls? Here's another look. Guys, let's go really slow here. Watch as Stevens gets around, wraps him up. Does he have control, or is it loose? We're not able to tell from that angle as it's from the opposite side. I think the big key here, Greg, is that they called it a fumble and a return for a touchdown on the field. Can you overturn it with what you see on the camera replay?
Remember earlier in the game, EKU had a return of a fumble because they thought it was a pass backwards, but then they ruled it was a forward pass, and so Vito Tisdale's touchdown taken off the board, rightfully so.
Lance Anderson there on your screen as they await anxiously the ruling on this one.
Idaho State graduate, biology major.
Walt Wells hoping it stands. Here's another look at it. Is he able to secure the football? Oh, man, that is really, really close. Is that coming out before his back hits the turf? Because Stevens has got his arm in there, and the ball looks like it's being juggled around a bit.
There are more. Here we go. We're going to get a ruling.
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So Mannix Marcellus has scored 6. His dad, Manston, played football at Wyoming. His mom, softball at South Dakota State. And their son has 6 on the fumble recovery caused by Gabe Stevens on a sack and dislodge and the return. Returned 23 yards for the TD. And the defense has scored at EKU. That was in the doldrums until midway through the second quarter. Has put 2 scores on to lead 14-3. And when you're 0-8, things like that happen to you, Jim. You kind of feel sorry in a way for Utah Tech because they've come in here with a good game plan, but they're still down 14-3.
You know, you feel almost a little sorry for them because the play called one way on the field. We had an opposite situation earlier in the game where you kind of felt like it was going to be overturned, but that one was a hugely important play that is called one way on the field, and I think Utah Tech had the disadvantage of it being called that way on the field as it turns to be an EKU touchdown.
Just saw Walt Wells talking to the officiating crew for a bit, and it's his birthday, by the way. Just glad to have another birthday after the Widowmaker heart attack a couple of years ago, right before the start of the season.
Well, you know, 31 again for Coach.
Well, thank you for that. Well, Nations, who's taken one out of the end zone today on a kickoff, and he's been so good all year long. Now 32 kickoffs, 27 have been touchbacks. He came into the season, his touchback ratio on kickoffs was 43%. Into today, this year, it's at 87%. 14-3 EKU, 3:47 to go in the first half. They were down 3-0 for 6 minutes and 52 seconds of this game. Nations takes it over the E to the back of the end zone on homecoming. Eastern Kentucky against a team that has lost 13 games in a row, stretching back 385 days, October 7th of 2023. Meanwhile, EKU here at Roy Kidd Stadium, 245, 62-1, 3-0 this year. Way back in their heyday under Hall of Fame coach Roy Kidd, they had home field winning streaks of 36 and 27 games. Amazing streaks in the 80s and 90s. Look at that, 15 undefeated seasons. It's a goal for Eastern Kentucky to do it again this year. This is game 4 of 6 at home on a 12-game schedule. Back to work, Barbin after the sack and the fumble. Out to the right side, the Colonels converge. Not a lot of yards on the first down throw. Frank Lee comes after and makes the tackle. And Asa Chapman, who's busy today with 4 carries, and that's his second catch.
Look, Maddox Marcellus just overruns the play. He goes way past Chapman, goes a little bit too far to the sideline. If he's able to stay in the line of the play, that's a loss for about 2 yards, but he just overran it a bit.
Second down and 7 from their own 28-yard line. Late in the first half, down by 11. Pass out to the edge left side of Liley, and he got a first down just over the 35 to the 36-yard line. Tackle made by Mike Smith Jr. is getting a lot of look from the pros.
Watch the block. Well, you're not going to be able to see it, not in your screen. The huge key there is the block by Rios. Rios comes from the outside in and blocks 2 guys to get them off and make that a positive play.
First down and 10, the play. They gave it up to the 37 for Barbin. Barbin fakes the handoff, now tosses the guy he faked it to, around the right side to the 39 as they've gone back to Kona Crowell this time, the 6-foot sophomore from Desert Hill High School. Same high school as tight end Eric Olson and an inside linebacker.
Fake the handoff, now pitch it to the outside. Boy, they give you a lot of different looks in that pitch out offense. I've seen 5 or 6 of those today. Pitching the ball out, trying to stretch this EKU defense to the sideline.
True freshman DJ Galva comes in, a cornerback for EKU. Out of Bartow, Florida. Unmarked receiver off the right side and down the sidelines, past midfield, down to the Colonel 48 as the catch was made. And again, it is Rilos. So Rilos, the 6-foot freshman, moves the chains.
Yeah, a collision between Jordan Thomas, the corner, and Jaheim Ward, the safety. They ran into each other. Thomas falls down. Nobody's on the sideline.
He's had 27 and 13-yard catches. Timeout called as Eastern Kentucky at the 2-minute warning. Yeah, we got the 2-minute warning. I still get not used to this. This is the NFL. We'll be back after this 14-3 EKU. A couple of catches by Rios, and they are moving against a team that has scored 14 on them, but look at all those points that they have given up this year. Held Austin Peay to 14. On first down, over the middle, incomplete. Ward stripped it away. For a moment, the receiver was open down at the 25, but it's the guy that come off that injury, got back last week after injured in the first game of the year, Falai, and he is a good target. And Ward did a good job.
Ward doesn't get his head around, but he's in the path of the football, thrown low, trying to hit Falai on the stride, going right down the hash mark. So Ward, a good play, but I'm not sure he intended it that way.
Cross midfield for the third time in 6 possessions there at the Colonel 49, down 14-3, 2nd and 9. Throw short, dislodged again, same guy, Jaheim Ward, the Austin Peay transfer.
And against the same receiver.
Well, they've gone to Rios twice, and now they've gone back to this guy, and it'll be third down.
Braden Sullivan is back in after getting some treatment on the sideline for EKU, one of the top tacklers on the team.
And Gabe Stevens, who caused the sack and caused the fumble that was returned 23 yards moments ago by Maddox Marcellus. Third down and a bunch here. And third down's not real great today. Dump it out of the backfield left side and plenty of running room. Enough green grass and more for the first down to the Colonel 32 as they go to Kona Crowell again.
Yeah, they caught the Colonel D in 5 guys in the box. There are 5 guys. You see them all lined up there, and they just caught them with the right play call. A screen pass to the outside. When you got so many in the box, there's going to be open lanes to the outside.
Barbin, the freshman, now 9 of 21 for 90 yards. Back to pass and to the sidelines. Did Crowell keep a foot in bounds? They say yes, and then got out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
That was Rios, I believe.
Yeah, it was Rios instead, the freshman. Freshman stepping up.
Not a very well-thrown pass, as you see Rios having to try and go down and pick that up off the grass.
Minute 29 to go, and they're driving, but they've got a sack. Sack was made by Eastern Kentucky there. A couple of guys were coming in. Jaheim Ward was coming on a blitz and got it.
Yeah, he was coming from the outside, got around that offensive lineman that was holding a block on somebody else on the D-line. And once he got around the traffic, he was able to pull the quarterback down from behind.
And now facing third down and 9. They're 3 of 8 today on third down conversions. Lance Anderson calls it timeout as they're just a little bit outside with the wind in the face of Uveda. If they have to go to the field goal, it may be too far out. So a big play coming here, maybe in fourth down territory. By the way, Eastern Kentucky coming into this game had only made 6 quarterback sacks in their first 7 games. They made 2 today, and 1 turned into a touchdown. They're out of timeouts as well. Eastern Kentucky has all 3 if they need them with a minute 22 to go. In half one, 14-3, Eastern Kentucky. Utah Tech took the lead early at 3-0 early in quarter 2.
The difference in the second quarter has been pressure on Barbin. They have been able to get into the backfield and disrupt plays.
Crowell is the running back lined up to the right. Trade the tight end Olsen to the left. Barbin back to pass. Throw underneath, short of the first down, but to the 25, maybe 24 and a half. It'll be fourth down at about 2.5. Again to Crowell.
Underneath, but I think they thought, we get close enough. We don't have to get the first down, but we need to make up some yardage to give Uvedev a little bit of a better look.
Right between the hashes, into the wind, which has died down a little bit, 6-7 miles an hour, 42-yard field goal. He hit a 48-yarder against Northern Arizona, beyond 40. He's 1 of 4 this year. Right-footed kicker. Drifting to the right, hitting the right upright, and clanking off. No good. When you're 0-8, those things happen to you.
Oh, absolutely. You could tell, though, looking at the trajectory of the ball, how the wind held that thing up. May have pushed it just a little bit. As you see the flags, or as we do from our angle, it's not blowing straight into the face. It's going across their face and back. to the opposite corner of the end zone. And here's another look at it coming from the end zone, but you see it just push, and then hit the upright, bouncing back down to the turf. So the wind definitely played a factor in that one.
Happened to Eastern Kentucky when they were shut out in Game 2 by Western Kentucky 31-0, when it was a left upright clanker from 19 yards away. Now let's see if EKU plays it conservative or goes to the air. Morrissey to the air. In traffic, juggled. Was it held on to? Yes, at the 31-yard line there. And that's already 5 catches for Ron Van Jr. out of Chula Vista, California. Now Morrissey with all the timeouts underneath between the hashes. First time to Cowwise, the reigning UAC freshman of the week. Now Eastern Kentucky calls a timeout after one of the linemen unable to get up. It's Liam Coppinger out of Everson, Washington. Remember Coppinger, the player that had a hip injury, had not played the last 3 games, working him back in as the Colonels had also lost their other guard, Bunn, so they're trying to get healthy on the offensive line. 14-3, Eastern Kentucky, 15 seconds to go. Took a little time to get that timeout, Jim.
Yeah, but they had the first down, so the clock wasn't moving. They had stopped the clock for the first down, and I think a good position to call that timeout, just to kind of regroup. You're hoping to get to the line, go quickly, keep the defense back on their heels a little bit, but a good timeout there just to kind of regroup.
With the wind the way it is, if you get to maybe the 37, you could go for a long field goal for Nations as long as 51 yards. You've got maybe 2-3 plays here. See what they dial up with a 1st and 10. Leading 14-3 in the waning moments of the first half for Morrissey. Over the middle, tipped and incomplete. They had Jacob Horn covered well that time, and it'll be 2nd down. Really, the downs do not matter. Inside linebacker Jackson Smith with the tip.
Morrissey gets good time to throw. Horn on the crossing pattern. What they were hoping to kind of go underneath because the safeties are very, very deep. They're a good 22 yards off the ball.
Got to get it down inside the 40 for a long shot, and they're going to go on the ground instead to Latham. And Latham breaks a tackle to the 48. Now you could call a timeout. You will, potentially, as they mark him down at the 49. And you could throw a Hail Mary here. Well, a little too far for a field goal attempt. The school record 57. And Eastern Kentucky does not call a timeout.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit too far. You don't want to give Utah Tech a chance to return that if it's too short. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
We'll go to the locker rooms. 14-3 Eastern Kentucky had to come off the mat down 3-0 and have done it to lead. When we come back, we'll break down all the numbers here on ESPN+. Welcome back to Richmond on homecoming on a cool fall afternoon of sunshine where EKU leads Utah Tech 14-3. Eastern Kentucky in this half has gone punt, punt, punt. Touchdown offensively by Carter, and then the half ended on him. Meanwhile, Utah Tech went punt, punt, field goal to take an early lead, then another punt, and then a crushing play, a quarterback sack, cause fumble, returned by a teammate of Gabe Stevens. Maddox Marcellus, 23 yards for the touchdown, and after being down by 3, EKU up 14-3, and then a missed field goal clanking off the right upright from 42 yards out for Uvedo, and EKU leading by 11 at halftime. Jim, EKU has been outdone 11 plays and 20 yards of offense, but they lead against a team that has been porous all year, but as we said, has been getting better, and we've seen it today. They've been innovative, a lot of young guys showing the future, even though they are down, and probably frustrated that they're down 11 at halftime.
To be honest, Greg, though, I started thinking about it. We talked about EKU and how they've been good at home. They're 3-0, haven't trailed very much. But you think back on those 3 games, it did take them a while to get going. And pretty much all of those previous home games, even down 3-0 to Morehead State early on in that game. So it kind of followed the pattern that they've had this season of, yeah, it's going to take us a quarter to settle in. Finally we do. Then their offense gets a score. Then their defense does something. So kind of following the pattern we've seen.
Well, let's be honest about it. It's a soft schedule at home so far. Right. Now, it's not going to be against Central Arkansas and North Alabama to end their home part of the schedule, but they've had a very rough, tough 2 FBS teams and 2 really good teams in Southern Utah and Abilene Christian on the road, and that's going to continue with Tarleton coming up and then Austin Peay to close out the road part of it. But for Utah Tech, wow, their schedule, 3rd rated by one rating service, 3rd toughest in the country, 4 teams in the top 10. You got to love that these young guys are bringing fight after a long plane trip across the country.
Long plane trip, you don't have a lot of starters with you, but they have a little fight in them. They've come out here, a lot of young players showing that, hey, we can hang a little bit. Maybe wearing down just a bit as we got through that first half, but still a game team coming in here today in Utah Tech.
Up next to the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar halftime show, all the numbers from the first half. EKU leads Utah Tech 14-3 here at ESPN+. Whoa. After being down for almost 7 minutes, Eastern Kentucky takes a 14-3 lead to the locker room at halftime on homecoming, where the king and queen are about to be revealed. And let's go to the first half statistics. 20-yard advantage and 11 more plays so far for Utah Tech. They've done it surprisingly through the air at 101 compared to 80 on the ground. They entered 176.5 per game, 96 on the ground, so that's about what they've done on the year. EKU had to go the rushing game with Carter carrying 5 times in a short drive for their only offensive touchdown. Defense got the other, and there you see the total yardage. Carter has been the workhorse for EKU, 12 carries for 79 yards. Chapman and Crowell have both carried 4 times, and Bronson Barbin, the starting quarterback, has carried the football 8 times himself for 19 yards through the air. He's 11 of 23 for 101 yards. The sack that led, though, to the touchdown has been the big key as the Colonels get their first defensive score of the year. Ron Van Jr. has been targeted 5 times, made 4 catches for a career-high 33 yards. Cowwise 2 catches, Latham and West 1. And through the air today, Matt Morrissey 9 of 12 for 68 yards. But it doesn't feel like Morrissey has had a great day today through the air, but he's managed the game pretty well. Colonel's been hit with 56 yards of penalties, and rightfully so. Too many major penalties again today. They do lead 14-3.
And they're winning the turnover margin, Greg. And going into this, when we kind of previewed this game this week, they had to stay away from turnovers, and they have done that so far. Utah Tech, though, has turned the ball over, and it led to 7 points.
Utah Tech now is -11 in turnover margin this year and has been outscored a mind-boggling 67-0 in points off turnover. 67-0. That's a big reason why you're 0-8.
It has been very tough to recover from those turnovers they've had this season. If you're spotting opponents' points, then you're going to be behind most of the time, and we've talked about that pretty much all game.
All right, at halftime, EKU 14, Utah Tech 3. Colonels will get the ball to start the second half. Up next to the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Halftime Show, Jim will recap the big plays of the first half. This is ESPN+.
14-3 halftime. EKU leading over Utah Tech, and let's run through the big plays of the game. Utah Tech getting on the board first. Something they have not done very much this year is lead in a game, and they get on the board in the second quarter. No scoring in the first quarter. They got a 24-yard field goal from Ilya Uvedov. And here's a look at him being able to sneak it just inside the right upright as he looked at it. And 3-0 Utah Tech. Took the Colonels 4 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the second period to get on the board with this Josh Carter 1-yard touchdown run. So they take the lead 7-3. Then the defense comes up big as Gabe Stevens, a sack, fumble by Barbin, the quarterback of Utah Tech, ran in by Maddox Marcellus. And that's where we stand, 14-3. Another look at it from the sideline as Barbin not able to get away from the oncoming Stevens. The ball came loose. They reviewed it, said it stood as called on the field. And the Colonels lead 14-3. Back in a moment as we'll end the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar halftime show. Second half is next on ESPN+.
Eastern Kentucky get the ball to start the second half. So they will send Montgomery and Latham back. Montgomery hadn't gotten a crack at a kickoff yet. Latham had a nice one near midfield. Uveda, 11 touchbacks, 46% getting it to the end zone. He's got the wind to help him here. Spiraling to the end zone and over the shoulder of Montgomery. Let's find out what's going on in the United Athletic Conference. Wes Chandler.
Yeah, 2 games in progress right now. It is Southern Utah with a double-digit lead over West Georgia late in the fourth quarter. Tarleton State up 7-3 over Austin Peay. Then there's a very intriguing game kicking off in about 10 minutes. North Alabama 3-1 in the conference against Central Arkansas at home. And as you can see on the standings, Tarleton State 3-0 to lead the UAC so far.
And Tarleton State will host EKU next week. Colonel's trying to get back to 500, where Austin Peay is trying to pull the upset today against the same opponent. Colonels start from their own 25. Carter coming off to the left side. He had 125 yards the last time these two teams went at each other, and he's working towards a 100-yard day today as Quincy LeJay, the redshirt freshman, made the tackle.
Yeah, he's just really patient again. I say that every time he carries the ball, but he just waits and waits until the last possible moment, then explodes through.
His dad, Tony, played at South Carolina State. Morrissey to pass. Now take out of the pocket, and there's a lot of running room for Morrissey, the graduate student quarterback at his third Division I school, to the 40, and they move the chains. Tackle was made by Willie Angelau.
All right, coming into your living room here, Morrissey, that time he makes the decision very quickly. All right, I'm looking through my checks. Everybody's covered. I've got running room. All I see is green in front of me. Step through the pocket, get up there and make the positive gain.
Morrissey in his career, 10 yards from 3,600 yards passing, taking over for Parker McKinney, the record setter at EKU.
Somebody moved.
EKU will now be penalized 61 yards in the day.
Offense, number 55, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Did I hear him say 55?
That's what I heard him say.
Tyrell Green. That's his third false start of the year.
See, and that, it kills you. You get behind the sticks, 1st and 15. The Colonels have enough problems as it is, just trying to pick up those first downs and get down the field.
Utah Tech, 3 penalties for 15 yards. Carter on 1st and long. Now we'll pop it outside. Jitterbug the feet. Get about to the 38, so we got 3 of the penalty back. Tackle made by Brevin Hamblin. Their leading tackler on the year, second in the UAC in total tackles.
It took forever. I mean, he just waits as long as he can, then bounces it out, but Hamblin has already recovered. Then the cavalry comes and helps him out.
8th tackle of the day for Hamblin. He has had 4 double-figure tackle games, led by 12 last week. Carter, and they hammer him for maybe a gain of 1 at best, and it is LeJay at EKU that got behind the sticks after the Morrissey run for first down on the false start. Faces 3rd down at 11.
It's difficult enough on 1st and 10 to get that positive gain to make it 2nd and short, 3rd and short. But when you lose that 5 yards at the very beginning of the series of downs, 1st and 15 for a running football team, it's just difficult to make that up.
14-3 lead as we open the second half. They're 2 of 5 in 3rd down conversions today. Morrissey scrambles, a lot of running room. Needs the 50, gets there and more. Still going, breaking tackles. Get the wagon train out and head west. Well, north in this case, all the way down to the 38-yard line. Morrissey's longest run of the year had been 27. Hamblin made the tackle, that one 3 yards short of his 27-yard scamper.
He's not a small guy. He's got some size, so he can bounce off and take a little bit of that rough and tough stuff. But, wow, just extra effort that time.
EKU across midfield for the 6 times they've had the ball. Man in motion in west. Come left side, Carter, break a tackle. They got a foot tackle at the 30, or he would have been gone. Well, that was a nice foot tackle by Jeremiah Jimmo.
Watch Jimmo here, just getting the shoestrings. Yep, enough to get Carter down to the turf, but Carter, again, bounce that to the outside. When a linebacker staring him down, if he cuts it up the hash, bounces that to the outside, able to get positive yards.
Just the second game for Jimmo this year. He played at Austin Peay. Again, you could play 4 and still redshirt. Colonels try to keep it on the ground, and they will on 2nd and 2, and it'll be 3rd and 1 as the tackle was made by Will Aloveo, a redshirt freshman out of Kapolei, Hawaii, southwest of Oahu.
It looks like the left side of the offensive line that time kind of broke down. They stretched it too far. The blocking line had too many holes in it, and the defense is able to get through and get Carter.
3rd down and 1 for EKU at the 29. Carter, first down, needed 1. Got about 2, and they'll move the chains as they try to drive the lead up from 14-3. And that's the 3rd tackle in the series by LeJay.
Watch him shoot the gap. He's there. He just can't wrap up Carter without Carter falling forward and getting that extra yards. It would have been close if he's able to shut him down at the point of contact.
This drive started at their own 25, kept alive by a conversion. Couple of nice Morrissey scrambles. In motion goes Horn. Morrissey, pressure from the edge, and he didn't see the blitz coming, and he throws it at the feet of Hunter Brown. That's legal, and he avoided the sack. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So 2 plays now. He's shown us
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Number 3 was in the area.
2 plays in this drive that Morrissey has shown us how tough he is. He was hit very early there on that play and was able to stay upright until he threw the ball at Brown's feet, getting the incompletion and avoiding the sack.
That'll be 2nd down and a full yardage to gain now as Eastern Kentucky leads 14-3 on homecoming. Walt Wells has never lost a homecoming game. Carter had him around the neck and push him back. Nice gang tackle, but they drive him to the ground. Let's see if it's a hold or if it's an illegal play defensively here from the center judge. Aloveo made the tackle for the 2nd time in this series. Threw him down pretty hard, Jim.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 98. That penalty is enforced. Half the distance to the goal line, automatic first down.
Well, the whistle had blown. I mean, it's as simple as that. They stop the progress. The play starts going backwards. You see the replay right there. Stop the play, whistle's blown, and you can't throw him to the turf. And that's exactly what they did. 4 guys in on the tackle, and they throw Carter to the turf after the progress has been stopped and the whistle is blown.
Yeah, they just clean that kind of stuff up nowadays, and it was the right call. They had come in avoiding penalties today until that one. They've had the little false starts, those kinds of things.
And I'm sure that's more frustration, really, than anything, because EKU is running the football on them and picking up first down, so a little frustration on the defense.
4 penalties, 29 yards. That one a big, costly one. Morrissey, they grabbed him. He got away. He'll throw it, and it's intercepted and then dislodged, incomplete. Oh, Morrissey threw behind, and then what a hit to pop away a potential interception. We've got to watch that one again. And one player, LeJay, down. He almost had the interception.
It's an incomplete
All right,
pass.
we're going to watch it again.
This was timeout for a defensive injury.
The pass comes to the middle. Van is open momentarily, and then LeJay comes in, has the interception, and all of a sudden Joshua Carter becomes a defensive back and separates him from the football.
We'll take a timeout as they check LeJay. Colonel's driving, 14-3 lead, 9:58, quarter 3.
And at the half, the EKU leads state 21-7.
I love the way these look.
Thanks.
Yeah, go Colonels.
Is it here?
Hey, Coach. It's right here, but shouldn't you be at the game?
Carry your favorite team with you everywhere you go with the new EKU branded debit card from CG Bank. No matter what season it is, always show your Colonel pride.
Has anyone seen Coach?
Whoa. Before you do that, where's the gas line? And where's your wallet? Because you hit a gas line and it's going to cost you. Not to mention that it's also very dangerous. Okay, where's your phone? Good. Now call 811 before you dig. One call and you'll know where to dig every time. So, no problems, no fine. And, oh, it's the law.
A drunk driver was driving under the influence, going 127 miles per hour. He was caught for his 3rd DUI that night. You know, you always hear all these stories about wrecks and drunk drivers, but you never think it could happen to you until it does. He left that scene without a scratch while my family suffered.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, forget about X's and O's. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
LaJoy up off the field under zone power after nearly an interception dislodged by Carter, a former linebacker at South Alabama. 2nd and 10 EKU. Opening drive, handoff Carter. Carter to the 10 following blockers, dislodges from 2 potential tacklers. Got down to the 4, but a flag flies near the end of the play from somebody. It was the head linesman over on the other side who tossed it. Jimmo, another tackle.
He's come in and really performed well, hasn't he? Jimmo didn't seem much in the first half.
That was a strange place for a flag, Jim. Just that the play was almost over, and at the end it came out. So I wonder what this is.
Face mask, possibly?
I don't know. Never guess.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 44.
Wow.
That penalty is enforced. Half the distance to the goal line from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
So it's on a guy that had never played a game, a freshman out of Long Beach.
See if we see anything here at the end. Well, this is the play before. This is Morrissey throwing into the end zone. LeJay almost the interception, and then Carter not even close to the crown of the helmet, just dislodged the football with a really good hit. So another look at it for you there, those of you watching.
Said, hello, I was a linebacker for 17 games at South Alabama. Let me show you how. Now it'll be 1st and goal after the playing his first game. Kyle Parker, a costly mistake. Handoff Carter. Carter to the 1. Carter a little extra push, but not in. It'll be 2nd and goal. As the clock dips underneath 9.5 minutes and a cool, windy day, but a beautiful fall day here in the Bluegrass State.
Can we talk a little bit about this EKU offensive line and the difference from the second quarter on in run blocking? They have been able to open up the lanes for Joshua Carter, a little bit of Latham, haven't seen him too much. It's been mostly Carter here in this one.
Colonels bring in a new quarterback in Cam Herget, the running quarterback. He is 124 yards this year, 6.5 a carry. 2nd and 1.5 yards for Herget. Sends a man in motion, will keep it, goes to the edge. He's got speed, and he is open for a touchdown. Cam Herget with his first career touchdown run, and it was nobody in his area code.
Why did that happen? Because Josh Carter made an unbelievable block on a guy coming in from the edge, and Scooter Jackson. Jackson may have had a line on Herget, but Josh Carter said, nuh-uh, not today. I'm going to let my quarterback make the end zone.
Well, he rushed for 63 touchdowns in his high school career at Beechwood. He's rushed now for 1 in his college career in 3 years. And the left-footed kicker, Pat Nations, pulls within 3 of tying the all-time kicking scoring record at EKU. Colonels lead it now by an advantage of 18, 21-3 on ESPN+.
Colonels take a 21-3 lead here in the third period, the first drive of the second half. 14 plays, 75 yards, 6 minutes and 16 seconds. Cam Herget, his first career touchdown. You see some numbers there on home versus away for the Colonels this season. Margin of victory, 24 points and 3 home wins, but away from RKS, Roy Kidd Stadium, they are 0-4 with a margin of defeat of 28.25 points.
There's Matt Morrissey behind the bench. Hope he's okay. And another touchback for Nations despite going into the win this time. And so Pat Nations continues to stay in the high 80 percentile as far as touchbacks on kickoffs. 6-year guy, started his career at East Carolina, a year plus a redshirt year, and boy, he has come to Eastern Kentucky and at a Massey, South Carolina, Walhalla High School, and he's been a good one.
That was a pretty laissez-faire attitude about a kickoff that landed 2 yards outside of the end zone. It's a good thing it took a bounce into the end zone for Utah Tech. Nigel Osborne just like, okay, it'll go.
Long kickoff, a long opening drive of the second half, but EKU leads it by 18 as they go around the left side, and they have continued to rotate running backs. That time it is Kona Crowell again, right out of St. George, same high school as a tight end, Olson. And he's been their workhorse today, Jim.
Yeah, and this is what they opened up the game with, those stretch plays to the outside that they found success with early on. Looks like they may go back to that, this being their first drive of the second half. Back to those stretch plays, try to get outside and around the edge.
21-3 EKU. They picked up 5, second and 5. Fake to Crowell, throw to the near side, caught at the 40, overrunning at Tisdale, and he'll carry it across midfield stripe on the nice catch there by Wilkes, who's playing his 4th game and the first time back after missing a bunch of games. It goes for 21 yards.
Yeah, the ball takes him to the inside. He spins to the inside of the field, which is his advantage there. It gets him away from the defensive back, and he's able to pick up a huge gain.
Been a pretty good day for Bronson Barbin. Outside of the 1 sack, and he'll keep it, and they almost foot tackle him. A little touch drill with his hand, and he got 6 on the play down to the 43. Mike Smith Jr. makes the tackle, the Appalachian State transfer out of First Coast High School in Florida.
This is what they did early on that was very successful. Little RPO, letting the quarterback run on designed runs, making the run plays go to the outside, trying to get the edge. So again, successful. They've been able to drive down the field, get into EKU territory with the same game plan they had in the first quarter.
Barbin now 9 carries today for 25 yards. Stretch fake handoff. Look left. Uncovered receiver caught at the 40. He high hurdles a Colonel, but before that he had stepped out down at the 27-yard line. It was Burton who they go to. Alec Burton out of Danville, Indiana, just up the road. How did he get to Utah? He came from Ohio where he played. 16 yards, and they're driving here, trying to get back in the game, down 21-3.
Yeah, absolutely. All the defensive backs were deep, very deep for EKU, covering other receivers, and they just troll that tight end underneath to the sideline. Nobody marks him.
That's the shortest catch of the year of the 3s made for Burton. Kept by Barbin. Tough running for the freshman. Down to the 19. He picks up 8 more. You got to love the fight in Bronson Barbin, the freshman from St. George.
Yeah, I love what I've seen from him. Kroll has been really good at the running back spot. That time they had Chapman in there. And they have been using that RPO, letting Barbin run, pull it out of the belly, fake the handoff, keep the football. He's been able to pick up positive yards.
Sullivan made the tackle. Crowell lowers the shoulder into Smith for the first down to the 15. Smith, his 8th tackle to lead the team. 7 of them have been solos today. Backup linebacker Caden Smith has a total of 5 himself.
Cam Jr. in on the point of contact for that one too, Greg.
1st and 10 from the Colonel 15. They've driven from their own 25 quickly, down 21-3. Barbin fakes the pass, will run to the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. Oh, they're going to say his knee scraped at the 7. It'll be second and a short 2. On your next visit to Richmond, book your stay with Town Place Suites by Marriott or Holiday Inn Express Richmond. 2 great hotels in 1 great city. Town Place Suites by Marriott, Holiday Inn Express, proud partners of EKU Athletics.
And this is where the EKU defense kind of bows their back a little bit. Let the opponent get to the 10 in the red zone. Then they bow their back and try to hold them to 3.
Been held to a field goal today. They average just over 12 a ball game. It is Crowell for nothing. And there's one bow of your back, and they actually lost yards back to the 9 for a loss of 2, and all of a sudden you're in 3rd down and 4. And that was a big tackle by a co-captain, 5th-year graduate student Ryan Jackson right there.
Started by Gabe Fletcher, though. Fletcher gets the penetration to hold him up, and then the cavalry comes, and Ryan Jackson able to put the finishing touches on it.
Have Estes wide out to the right, or to the left, make that. 2 come to the right as they bring Falahi out along with Parker. Man in motion is Parker. They throw to him. He made a fingertip catch, got to the pylon for a touchdown. Nobody marked Parker in motion, Jim, from right to left. And here come the Trailblazers back within 12, 21-9.
It looked as if Tisdale may have been out of position. He's the one that's streaking to the other side of the field to try and get over to Parker before he gets to the end zone. Not sure, but a mix-up definitely somewhere in the EKU secondary.
Now the extra point kick to make it 21-10. Most they've scored this year, 30 against Abilene Christian in a 55-30 loss. High snap, good job by Day, the punter, to get it down. PAT good, and it's 21-10, 4:05 in the 3rd quarter here in Richmond, and we'll be back for the kickoff after this.
I'll take these and a Ghostbusters game, please. On second thought, maybe just the Ghostbusters game?
Ghostbusters lottery games are here. Scare up big cash prizes online or at your favorite Kentucky Lottery retailer.
Funding more than $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
Hey guys, it's Ashley. Sorry I missed your call. Please leave me a message.
That's Ashley's voice that I hear. That's the only thing that the drunk driver has left me with. The police officer said that my daughter had been killed by a drunk driver. And he placed my daughter's necklace and my daughter's ring in my hand, and he closed my hand. That gentleman was the coroner. That's when I knew that my daughter was gone.
Next.
Buying college textbooks can feel like a nightmare.
Next.
Long lines, lost time, and inflated prices.
And that's lunch.
But for EKU students, BookSmart is a dream come true. Stress less with 100% free textbooks at EKU.
Here is the drive as far as Utah Tech's first touchdown of the game, a 9-yard touchdown pass from Bronson Barbin to Bryce Parker. 3rd touchdown of the year for Parker. Uvadov's extra point good. 9 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes, and 39 seconds to make the score 21-10 with 4:05 to go in the 3rd.
Short kickoff, but it is drifting back. Montgomery will act like he's coming out and then put a knee down. Well, that was a beautiful play there on the end around motion by Parker for his 3rd touchdown catch. 3rd thrown by Barbin in his 3rd start here.
Yeah, another look at it. Fake the handoff on the play action. Somebody just way out of position. Tisdale gets over there to make it a little more difficult, but Parker, again, several times today they've called the right play when EKU has not been in the greatest defensive spots.
Now 22.
And you see the improvement that Utah Tech has made on the defensive side, holding EKU to now 21 points after a very rugged beginning of the season defensively.
Yeah, 13 last week against Austin P.
Go on the ground as Morrissey back at quarterback after Herget had his first career touchdown. They'll go to their backup running back, Latham. It's been Carter mostly today, as Carter has rushed for 108 yards, so he's over 100 yards both times. Latham now just after that pickup at 212 yards. He's gone way down, averaging 22 yards a game the last 3 games after a good start, averaging about 67 his first 4 games. Morrissey in the pocket, throws long and well over both receivers, streaking near the numbers, and EKU here in a little danger zone, Jim, at 3:29 of the third, up 21-10 after this incompletion. You'll see they give it right back to Utah Tech.
All the momentum's their way. Cal-wise, you know, it's interesting. On the outside patterns, they've covered him well. Underneath, he's been open. I'm not sure why they're not running a little bit more underneath for Cal-wise on crossing routes.
Fewest passes the Colonels have thrown, 19 in a win over Moorhead. Morrissey 9 of 15 today. He's got pressure on him to the right, being chased, and he'll throw it away outside the box as Coppinger was trying to protect him, and that was a dud of a series for EKU offensively and a tremendous defensive series.
The quarterback was outside the box,
and
the ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. It's 4th down.
A lot of pressure from Angelo out of South Jordan, Utah, through Snow College.
And I think the last thing the Colonels needed there was a 3 and out where they get 2 yards on their drive. The defense is going to have to go right back out there on the field after a long drive.
4th punt of the day. They punted the first 3 times before they got a touchdown, half-ended, and then the opening touchdown of the second half. The defense scored the sack, caused fumble and fumble recovery. And did Baker hit that punt? Sure looked like it.
Yeah.
Barely got off his foot into the wind. And all of a sudden, the momentum has just taken a twill-to-whirl move after a 31-yard punt and an uninspiring offensive possession there by Andy Richmond's offense.
Yeah, the defense right back out there after you surrender a 9-play, 75-yard drive. So you're going to have to rely on the defense here. These are the types of moments when this defense has stepped up at times on home games, when they make a play to possibly get a turnover or at least force the offense into a 3 and out.
Defensive coordinator Patrick Moynihan's going to be pleased with what his defense did. Throw to the tight end, left side, just shy of midfield. So they came from their own 42 for 7, and they have continued to use the tight end this year and use it well. That time to Jay McEwen. They have thrown 31 completions coming to this game to the tight end, including that one there today. They've continued to go to the tight end.
Jaheim Ward just got blown up by Falai. Falai just absolutely took him to the turf, took him completely out of the play.
2nd down and 3 from their own 39 in the sun part of the field late in the 3rd quarter. Here is Crowell looking for a hole. He gets wrapped up just shy of the first down at the 49. Good tackle from Darian Baker, the graduate student.
Look at it as he comes from behind. Baker off the block, not able to hold him up very long was Logan Hicks. And Baker able to catch the runner from behind.
But still a team that averages 272 yards of offense, gives up 507.5 yards of offense, has outgained EKU today, 263 to 227, but the scoreboard hugs the home team, 21-10 as we near the 2-minute mark of the 3rd. 3 receivers, right ball, left hash. They need 1. They won't get it. Crowell stopped with a sledgehammer of driving lineman who led the way. It's the guy wearing 4, Jeremiah Bailey, and he had help from Maddox Marcellus here, Jim.
Yeah, Maddox Marcellus gets the tackle, but Jaheim Ward also getting in the backfield. They ran basically a safety blitz. They brought Ward way up to the line at the last moment, let him come in, and the offensive line didn't know who to block or who to let by. So Ward and Maddox Marcellus able to get into the backfield and blow that one up.
Bailey with his 2nd TFL. And now the punt will come from Andy Day on a sunny day in Richmond. Fair catch. Montgomery muffed the ball but got it back. Muffed it at the 9. Smothered it at the 7. Oh, Eastern Kentucky playing with fire.
You just can't make those over-the-shoulder catches as laissez-faire. I'll use that word again. Can't spell it, but yeah, you have to be a little bit more, have a sense of urgency and a surety to you that you can make that catch, secure it. That's the second time, one for each team now, that I've went, you guys can't be that relaxed.
Matt Morrissey with a pedestrian day through the air, 9 of 16 for just 68 yards. The lowest passing total of the Colonels this year, 76 at Western Kentucky when they were shut out. Late in the third quarter, 21-10 EKU working from their own 7. Stretching it to the right side to Carter, and a flag comes down, probably going to be a hold here. And there have been a bunch of holds this year.
Coppinger, I think.
Coppinger has not been one of them.
Offense, number 50. That penalty is enforced after this to the goal for the previous spot. First down.
Not been on the field the last 3 games. His second hold of the year. Let's watch it and see where he got him.
At the very end, he just tackles the man he's blocking right from behind. Boom, down to the turf.
Well, EKU just continuing to have penalty problems all but 2 games this year.
Here's the good news. You only lose 3.5 yards.
61 yards of penalties today. 31 for Utah Tech. Carter hunting for something and finding something on first down and about 13. Got out just over the 10 from about the 6. Make it from the 4, I should say. Good run there.
Utah Tech got away with a face mask right at the very end there. Grabbed him right by the grill. Didn't hold on to it long, but you could see the hand and turn the head of Carter as he got down to the turf.
Got it out to the 11. They've got to get it to the 17, 2nd and 6 for Morrissey. 21-10 EKU last minute of quarter 3 for Carter, who's been the workhorse. And Carter will work his way just a yard upfield to the 12. And we will turn our attention here in about 15 seconds to the fourth quarter on homecoming. Eastern Kentucky trying to stay undefeated at home, get their record of 4-4, and send Utah Tech back home at 0-9 and 0-5 in UAC play. Fourth quarter when we return. Utah Tech has run 4 more plays, 27 more yards at EKU, 21-10 Colonels as we go to the 3rd down play, but some interesting games. One's gone final, Wes.
Yeah, Southern Utah beating West Georgia, and Tarleton State up by 4 over Austin Peay. That game, North Alabama Central Arkansas has got underway.
Here is Morrissey throwing long on 3rd down and sailing it well over the head of Ron Van Jr., I believe, is who it was down.
Yeah.
And boy, Morrissey is on deep balls. He's just overthrown over and over and over this year.
You got to have some touch on the ball and give your receiver a shot at pulling it in, but that's just and again, he's got the wind at his back, so the wind could have affected the football. I'm not going to throw it all on him, but you got to have a little more touch than that. Utah Tech with one too many players on the field.
Boy, if EKU could have gotten a snap off there. Baker, who mishit his last punt, standing in his own end zone. Wind, though, at his back. Low liner, and he's going to take it at the 50, fumble it, pick it back up, and be wrapped down as it went right into the belly of the returner and came back right out from Parker, who had the touchdown. This is a 37-yard punt. Colonel struggling in special teams today as well. McGowan, a linebacker, made the tackle.
Yeah. Just a couple of different times, both punt returners misjudging or having it hit off a different part of their body than bringing it close into their midsection. That one went off the shoulder pad, high on the shoulder of Parker. If he catches that cleanly, he may have been able to get a return and get better field position for his team.
EKU built a 21-3 lead, then gave up a long touchdown drive, and they've punted back-to-back. Chance to get it to one possession, fake the end around, and they sack the quarterback who never saw the blitz coming. And Eastern Kentucky with a big defensive play from Darian Baker.
That's the second time we saw the fumble in the first half. Second time that edge rush. Baker that time getting around the big offensive lineman for Utah Tech and Rambo Maggio. He was the guy that got beat in the first half when they had the quarterback sack and the fumble that was returned for a touchdown by EKU.
First quarterback of the career of Darian Baker for a -8. Throw it out on the edge. Nice tackle as they went out to the right side to Rilos, who has had 2 long catches today, and the tackle made by McGowan, who's had a good day, and it'll be 3rd down of the bunch here.
And designed to go out to the side. You see the eyes of the quarterback Barbin. He looks downfield, so he's trying to look off the defense, then go to the outside. That's something we haven't seen from Morrissey, to try and make that defense look a different direction.
Couple of big sacks today for the EKU defense, and it's 3rd down and 18. Barbin today through the air, 16 of 28, and a timeout called. And it was EKU that called it.
Yeah, EKU didn't have the right personnel on the field very late getting a player on, and that'll send us to a media timeout. 13:31, Colonels up by 11.
And at the half, EKU leads state 21-7.
I love the way these look.
Thanks.
Yeah, go Colonels.
Is it here?
Hey, Coach. It's right here, but shouldn't you be at the game?
Carry your favorite team with you everywhere you go with a new EKU branded debit card from CG Bank. No matter what season it is, always show your Colonel pride.
Has anyone seen Coach?
This is living proof that there can be life beyond cancer. At Baptist Health, we've treated more patients with breast, colon, and lung cancer than any other health system in Kentucky and southern Indiana. Early detection can help lead to better outcomes. To find out more about our cancer risk assessments and early screening options, visit baptisthealth.com/cancercare.
Whoa. Before you do that, where's the gas line? And where's your wallet? Because you hit a gas line and it's going to cost you. Not to mention that it's also very dangerous. Okay, where's your phone? Good. Now call 811 before you dig. One call, and you'll know where to dig every time. So, no problems, no fine. And, oh, it's the law.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, forget about X's and O's. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
This would be a one-possession game if it wasn't for the defense, who's had a touchdown, and they just got a big sack, and it's 3rd down at 18 now. They started at the Colonel 48, but now they're throwing 44. All kinds of time to throw, and it's batted down by a dropping linebacker. Really nice job by a guy that's been so good this year, Braden Sullivan, when the top 2 inside linebackers went down with injuries, Jim.
Yeah, Barban has all day to throw, steps up into the pocket and tries to go a little bit deeper, wants to get to that second level, but Sullivan, who was playing a zone in the middle of the field, athletic enough to get up there and get a paw on the football.
Defense has saved the Colonels today.
Yeah.
Because the offense has been uninspiring. A low snap today, picks it up and sends it down the pipe, hitting it to 20 and taking a lateral bounce down to the 18 in the air. Well, that was the chance for Utah Tech. They had gone down 21-3, giving up the opening drive of this half, and then Eastern Kentucky sees them roll downfield for that long drive, Jim, and then they force EKU to punt on a 3-and-out and have it on the plus side of the field, and Darian Baker shuts the door.
Yeah, the quarterback sack on 1st down, that puts you behind the sticks, and your playbook shortens so much when you get behind the sticks, especially when it's more than 2nd and 15, 2nd and 16.
Herget has the rushing touchdown along with Carter today. Here's Carter, who's had a big day, going straight up the middle as they'll churn clock here as we near the 13-minute mark.
I love Morrissey. Morrissey's trying to give his running back a push from behind. That just, he may not have made all the correct calls today, but it shows you the toughness of this kid. Just getting behind his running back, he's the last one to let go, trying to give his running back an extra push.
That was Latham instead of Carter that time, so Latham getting the carry. Carter sits at 117. Stretch handoff to Latham coming to the right. Gets foot tackled, does a somersault. They'll give him a good spot to the 29. It'll move the chains. And it was Jamo again with a tackle, playing in his 2nd game. He played at Austin Peay.
And he's had a really good game. I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's come in and done exactly what Lance Anderson has asked him to do, and that's get into those gaps and stop those running plays. A lot of tackles for him today in a short amount of time.
1st and 10 EKU. They're going to milk clock here, stay on the ground. Latham, the Knoxville product, to the edge. Runs out of room along the sidelines, banged out. Good hit there by Jamo again. Again, they come in without a starting quarterback, Sheridan, who had a bunch of tackles last year against the Colonels.
How small was that crevice that Latham was able to get through going laterally? He's going laterally east to west and able just to escape through a little bit of a crack.
Got 9 yards of the foot. Need 2 feet to move the chains again. EKU 1 more yard now offensively than Utah Tech, and they'll get the 1st down as they go off to the left. And you know what Walt Wells is doing right now as the head coach, trying to get his record back above 500 at 26-25.
Somebody hurt.
Injured Utah Tech player. And Josh Fulmer, their athletics trainer, and his staff will come out with 11:26 to go in the game, 21-10 EKU. This is a team that got within 6 at home of Austin Peay, lost 13-7. Lost to Tarleton by 42. UNA on the road by 46. Lost by 25 to Abilene Christian, 18 to top 5 UC Davis, 28 to UNA, and 58. When I said UNA the first time, that's Northern Arizona. UNA, North Alabama by 28. Lost. UNLV crushed them by 58. Montana State by just 24. Player up and heading off the field here. And I think it was Dane Whalen, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was him.
Osage City played for the Indians. Right-handed pitcher from the same place. Blake Trinan of the Dodgers?
Blake Trinan.
Trinan, I knew you'd know
he
how
pitched
to say
last
it.
night.
Yeah.
And, of course, Dodgers got the win.
What a game.
For the Osage Indians in Kansas. I knew Wes would be watching the World Series, even though his beloved Braves are at home. First and 10 from the 40. Own territory, trying to milk clock. Latham, nothing.
Wow.
Now he's dragging guys forward. After he got stopped, they'll say forward progress impeded at the 41. Walt Wells, the old school type of coach. He coached under Roy Kidd, the veteran here, and then came back for a year with Dean Hood.
Tanavasa just comes from behind and swallows Latham. I mean, bear hugged him, and Latham just disappeared, but still able to churn out a yard or two.
EKU 190 yards on the ground as a team, 301 their most. This is Latham trying to get to the edge, got out of a foot tackle, just shy of the first down, and here comes a flag at the end of the play.
May have been a hold out there on the outside by one of the receivers who was trying to block downfield.
We'll get the indication from Brandon McCain, who is the referee today.
Would have been on Ron Van, I think.
If so, it would be the 5th major against EKU in this game. Yep. Hold.
And he did say number 6, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Jim, the last couple of years, Walt Wells' Colonels have been the lowest penalized team. But, man, this year it has just gone the other way.
Yeah, blown up, absolutely. I mean, 53 yards of penalties in the first half.
Now add this in. They were sitting at 7 for 64. That'll mark it back to their own 36.
Not too far. Because the penalty happened downfield, they take the 10 yards from the spot, so 2nd and 14.
Stretch handoff to Latham straight up the middle, trying to wear down this young Utah Tech defense, and out to the 42, and now you're in 3rd and long. Do you throw here, or do you turn it over to your defense, which has been your savior today?
I think that you try to pick up the first down. There's still a lot of time. You're talking 10 minutes left in the game. I think you pick up the first down any way you can.
EKU came in averaging just over 158 yards rushing, but the last 2 games, 80.5 per game. 3rd down and 8 here for EKU. See if they can convert to keep the drive alive. Morrissey escapes 1, escapes 2, now takes off and runs. Here comes another flag and another hold by EKU. Maybe on Coppinger or Collins. Let's see who they got.
I think it's going to be Coppinger for just taking Fakahua to the turf.
Coppinger coming back after missing 3 games out of Everson, Washington, through College of Idaho, where he was a starter 13 of 15 games.
They decline it.
Well, the referee's mic doesn't work anymore. 2nd hold on Coppinger, if that's who they got. But it's declined, as you said, and EKU will have to punt.
I think actually they got Peyton Collins. He had kind of wrapped around the jersey.
If it's on Collins, who is a pro prospect, that would be 4 holds this year. 6 majors again against EKU, 8 penalties, 74 yards. Offense has not provided many sparks today, just 2 touchdowns against a team that came in giving up 507 yards and almost 44 points a game. They've held the offense to 14, and a rifle shot punt, and it's going to go into the end zone, but you'll take that on what is a 60-50, make it a 55-yard punt. But Baker hadn't gotten it up into the sky like normal today.
No.
Timeout on the field, 9:09 to go in the game. Utah Tech trying to find a miracle east of the Mississippi when we return. 21-10, Eastern Kentucky. Chance here for Utah Tech. They were down 18 after leading 3-0. They've cut it to 11, get the ball back as EKU has punted 3 times in a row now. They opened the game with 3 punts in a row as well. Still a chance to break a 13-game losing streak over 2 seasons. Tight end in Olsen in motion. Gave the handoff to him, and Olsen powers up to almost the 30 as McGowan made the tackle. Talk about tacklers as we watch this play.
That's an interesting play to let the tight end go in motion, almost like an end sweep, but he's coming from the slot or the H-back position from where he's coming in motion from, going across the field. Interesting call.
Got 10, that's what they needed. They're up to the 30 and in a little bit of a hurry-up mode, and Barban has his pass knocked down by Gabe Stevens, who caused the fumble on a sack that led to the Marcellus touchdown. And those inside linebackers who both came in with 52 tackles today, and Sullivan and Marcellus to lead the Colonels today. Between them, they've had 10 tackles, and they've been big as usual. Guys that were not starters coming out of spring and fall ball.
Yeah, Marcellus getting a touchdown when he picked up the fumble and got into the end zone in the first half to help this EKU put some points on the board.
Rolling to the near side, throwing to an open receiver, knocked out of bounds shy of the first down. It's been a big day for Josh Rillios out of Golden, Colorado. Tisdale knocked him out. Tisdale, the UK and Colorado transfer.
Yeah, the defense of EKU is playing way back. They're playing deep. Don't let anything behind you is basically their philosophy now. They're giving that underneath stuff, especially on the sidelines. So Utah Tech, look for them to go to the sidelines and underneath stuff from here on out.
Utah Tech 4 of 12 on third down conversions. They are the 3rd worst third down converting team at FCS football at 23%, 10% above that today on 3rd and 4. And that one up in the air, and Barban, incomplete pass, and he almost had it batted back to himself, and the EKU defense, again, shuts the door on Utah Tech.
I'm not so sure that's not a fumble. We'll take a look at it again. Batted in the air, Barban actually catches it and tries to bat it over to a teammate. But if he makes a catch of that and comes down and then bats the football back, that's a fumble.
Now Montgomery, who they have kept out of kick return or punt return situation. Here's the punt away. We're looking at the play again as the punt comes down and nothing happens out of the punt. Let's see if we can get another look as it's down at the 29, EKU up. 7:43 to go, 21-10. Let's go back and look at what Jim was talking about here. Well, wait, we've got a timeout. We'll administer that first when we come back. Colonel football up by 11 on homecoming.
Great camera work by the crew here for ESPN Plus. We'll show you the replay of the pass play that was batted in the air. Barban's pass batted by Gabe Fletcher. Ryan Jackson with a hand in there as well. But just at the end, they're going to slow this down, and you'll see that Barban did not make the catch. He actually just kind of got it and batted it back. So incomplete is correct on the call.
Here's Carter trying to seal the door. Got to the edge, heading for potentially, and look at him continue when he hit it to 39 to get 2 more yards out of it, milk the clock as we hit 1/8 of the game to play at 7:30, 21-10 EKU. And boy, Carter's been the only guy in the offense today that's had a big day. He's over 125 yards now. His best of his career is 134. No, make it 138 last year against North Alabama on the road. 1st and 10 Colonels after the first down at the 42. Carter going to lose maybe a half yard there.
Coppinger tried to stretch that block out, just could not keep the onrushing defensive lineman from getting Sniffen. Boy, Sniffen has had a big day. You've called his number a lot of times on tackles today.
Out of Kailua High School out of Hawaii. 2nd down at 10, no gain there. Carter rushed that one before for 13 yards to take him up to 130. He goes negative yards there, 2nd and 10. Colonel started this drive at their own 29. Throw it out to West. Little block there by his teammate. Good job by Schlachter, a tight end. And West getting a second start. Moves it up near midfield, just a yard shy before he is brought down. And it was Fotu, Jared Fotu out of Highland, Utah. Played for Lone Peak High School, south of the Salt Lake Metro.
Good block on the outside that time. Was that Stanley? I didn't think we had seen him much in this game. Somebody on the outside with a really nice block.
Eastern Kentucky, 3rd down here and 3. They want to keep the clock moving and the ball leading 21-10. Carter trying to get the job done, and he will. Does a 360 spin into positive territory to the 45. As Carter carried it 6 yards, and he's 2 away from a career high.
We're not going to see much more than the run game from EKU from here on out, trying to get that clock milked down. We did see the one pass from Morrissey, but it's a high percentage pass to the outside. We might see one more of those, but for the most part, we're going to see Walt Wells, Andy Richmond, and this Colonel crew try to milk this clock with the run game.
5 100-yard games for the converted linebacker who played at South Alabama. His brother in the NFL as a running back. And up the middle goes Carter, a career-high running game as he goes down to the 29. Hamblin makes the tackle, their leading tackler on the year. 16 more yards and 152 for Josh Carter today out of Navarre, Florida.
Coppinger has not had the best game today, but that time he pulled, got to the edge, and sealed up with a block in the middle of the field that allowed Carter to have just a wide open lane down the right hash.
Utah Tech, 4.5 to go, down 21-10, and another dose of Carter. Off to the left to the corner, but another illegal block out on the edge. It may be on Collins. Maybe a hold. I think he knows it.
Holding. Offense. Number 50.
No, on Coppinger yet again, his second. There's one where the referee mic was not working. At first we thought it was on Coppinger, and then we changed our minds to Collins.
Yeah, he just holding on a little bit too long with his arms to the outside there. And if the official's standing right next to you, he's going to throw the flag.
This is last time anybody rushed for 150 or more yards. It was now Ball State player Braden Sloan last year in November against Stephen F. Austin, 150 on the button. Carter passed that at 154, and Carter moving towards that illustrious and historic 200-yard career total that so many great EKU tailbacks have had. He is over 2,000 now in all-purpose yards.
Wasn't the Stephen F. Austin game also the last time that the EKU defense got a touchdown? Because we saw that in the first half. So a lot of milestones, Wes, in this game.
It was. Jeremiah Bailey doing the honors.
Well, you got to give, I think, Utah Tech a lot of credit. They're 0-8.
Please reset the game clock to 4:13. The clock will start on the snap.
Jim, I mean, Carter has really run well today. And the line has opened some holes, but, I mean, there have been false starts. There have been holds. You know, it's been a defense. The defense has made sure this is going to be a victory, it looks like, on homecoming. Offense hadn't been great. Carter has. Carter again up the middle. Carter against now a tired defense, just a ramrod down to the 30-yard line on 1st and 20. It'll be, and they're going to give him the full 10. It'll be 2nd and 10 now. Carter sitting at 162 now.
He's one of those guys, it seems like he gets stronger as the game goes on. If you let him get into a groove, he's just going to get tougher and tougher to bring down for a defense that's getting tired from being out there a long time.
He's over 1,700 yards in his EKU career at 1,726 right now. Morrissey on the quarterback draw. He got a great block for Carter. And down to the 13-yard line he goes. Let's go back to Carter as the Colonels are in the red zone, about to put this one away, 21-10. Not only did Carter have a great running game, look at the block here, Jim.
Oh, yeah, just right out in front of his quarterback by about 5 yards, able to take on the block at the point of contact and give his quarterback a good extra 5 yards at the end of the play.
And what has Carter done when Morrissey threw what was going to be an interception and he dislodged the ball at the goal line from LaJoy? It has been Josh Carter, the offensive hero today.
Well, in homecomings of the future, he'll be able to talk about this one.
Guess who got the ball? Carter goes right, cuts left, and here comes a flag. Did they get a face mask there? First guy in was Fotu. Yellow down. There hadn't been a lot of flags against Utah Tech today. They play pretty clean. Just 5 penalties, 31 yards. EKU 9 for 84. Here's your referee.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 11. That penalty is enforced at the distance to the goal from the end of the run, and it includes an automatic first down.
Fisher Jackson, BYU transfer with a face mask.
You'll see it right as the play starts. Carter starts to go into the middle of the line, then bounces it back to the outside. Falei makes his move and grabs the grill to pull his head to the right, so easy call for the official.
Yeah, it was Fisher Jackson who actually grabbed the face mask. Here we go. EKU goal to go now with a new set of downs at the 6, leading 21-10. Had a Carter touchdown run from 1 yard. Herget came in and a 1 yard touchdown run, his first. Who else? Carter up the middle for a touchdown. Carter on a career high day. His second touchdown, and he's had 2 touchdowns against Robert Morris as well. It's Josh Carter on Walt Wells' birthday in Richmond, and it'll be a happy homecoming in Richmond.
Yeah, just waits for the seed apart, gets right up the middle. Defense not able to be in the right spot to bring him down as they've been on the field for a long time in this second half.
That was a 10-play, 71-yard drive of 5:16, and EKU has been known for double-figure drives and long drives over 70 yards. Nations with his 4th PAT of the day, and he is 1 field goal, 3 points away from setting the kicking point record at Eastern Kentucky, held by Taylor Long. Last game, he set the school record for career field goals at 50. Well, Eastern Kentucky, 28-10. Hadn't been the most impressive offensive performance. The defense has done what most teams have done against Southern Utah, or against Utah Tech. Sooner or later, I'll figure out the difference between Southern Utah and Utah Tech, separated by about 45 miles and a beautiful drive if you've never been up. There you see the Roy Kidd totals, and boy, at Eastern Kentucky here,
the nation's
it's the nation's total, but at Roy Kidd Stadium, they've won undefeated seasons 15 times.
Right.
They're 2 away this year, but they're 2 tough ones coming up, especially Central Arkansas in 2 weeks.
Well, I think North Alabama, which they'll play later on this season, I think they're the surprise of the UAC. I mean, nobody expected them to be, at this point in the season, 3-1. They own a victory over Abilene Christian.
Yeah, surprise victory there, 28-10 EKU. Colonels came in averaging 21 points a game against a team that gives up almost 44 a game, but getting better. Again, they lost 13-7 last week to Austin Peay. They'll go back home, 2 o'clock Mountain Time against Central Arkansas, who will be here in 2 weeks. Colonels, a 7 o'clock Eastern Time game at Tarleton. This is the 3rd of 4 straight games here on this campus on ESPN Plus. Soccer and volleyball yesterday, both EKU wins. The volleyball team against North Florida tomorrow at 11 o'clock. That pass incomplete by Barbin. Now 17 of 33 through the air for 160 yards. The intended receiver is a guy that's back on the field after missing several games with injury, Damani Wilkes.
Thomas that time not going to get fooled. He stayed right with Wilkes. Didn't even turn his head around, ball way underthrown.
2 minutes, 22 seconds until this one is over. 28-10 EKU. Barden in the sun, looking right, throwing, caught and immediately tackled and dropped over there on the far side of the field. And it was Crowell yet again.
And McGowan getting out there from his linebacker spot to make the tackle. Actually, I'm sorry, Greg, it was not Crowell, it was Rillos.
Boy, he's made like 4 catches today. Came in with 1, throwing over the middle, a fingertip catch at midfield and dragging Colonel Ward all the way down to the 38. A tremendous reception right there for Eni Falai.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
Watch this thing thread through the defense. Somebody jumping right in front. It was Marcellus that almost had it.
All right, minute 53 to go. Colonels by 18 when we return.
Days are getting shorter. Sun lowing here in Richmond as EKU well on their way to their 4th victory of the season. Let's take a moment here. We'll tell you about ESPN Plus. You can get 12 months for the price of 9.
Back to passes, Barbin, unmarked receiver, sets up the sidelines from the catch outside the 30. And again, it is Crowell. There have been a lot of unmarked open receivers. You can see Utah Tech's potential as they build a program under their new head coach after they fired Keith Patterson after 4 years as he took them from Division II to Division I, formerly known as Dixie State.
Yeah, a lot of youth on this team, and I think they've performed admirably here in not the best of conditions.
1st and 10 from the Colonel 22, down 28-10. Minute 45 to go for Barbin. Goes to the sidelines. Little bump there as he tried to come down the far sidelines to Damani Wilkes, and it was covered by Jordan Thomas. Colonels go +1 in turnover margin today, and it was a big play in this game, Jim.
Yeah, and you know, the plays that we've seen Barbin kind of go deep, either down the sideline or down the middle of the field, he's had the same issues as Morrissey. He's just not been as crisp as he's been on those short passes, either underneath or out to the sideline.
20 of 37, sacked 9 times in the 4 games he's played in. Started the last 3, didn't play in the first 5 when they started with Hill. Here's Barbin. Oh, boy, they looked like they were tackling a Colonel. Got away with that, and Barbin weaves his way down the sideline. We've seen a lot of holds today, Jim, but how was there not a hold when Darian Baker was trying to get to him here?
I think you'll see the hands are still inside of the shoulder pads. Yeah, he's still inside the shoulder pads. Baker with pressure, but he's not pulling the jersey away from the body of Baker. So, yeah, I can see where the official would say play on.
I think you're right. 3rd down and 6 after he did scramble down to the Colonel 18. They're in 4-down territory with 1:33 to go. Send a tight end in motion to the near side. No, that instead is Rilos. Looking all the way towards him, throwing in the slant. It is Rilos. Good tackle by Thomas, but it's a 1st down. Talk about a guy that came in 8th game. The first 7, he made 1 catch for 7 yards. He has been big time tonight. That is his 7th catch of the night.
Yeah, and Barbin, a little shoulder pump. Just gave him a little move that allowed the slant to become open to the inside.
80 seconds left. Barbin looking right all the way. Got an open receiver, and he turned in front of EKU's defender and scored against Mike Smith Jr. Touchdown for the Trailblazers. And I believe it was Thomason. Did I get it right? No, it was 11 instead. Falai, and boy, between Falai and Rilos, they've been really good today.
Yeah, those underneath patterns and the short patterns, they have been on target. So Barbin obviously using Falai with his favorite status in this game.
Falai's first touchdown of the year for the redshirt junior transfer from UMass. And a PAT kick is good by Uvae Dove. And so it's 28-16, 12-point game with 1:13 to go. EKU's offense bolstered by the defensive touchdown on the quarterback sack by Gabe Stevens, scooped and scored. 23-yard return by Maddox Marcellus. Offensively, the bright shining star with 31 of the Colonel's 50 carries today. Career high 167 yards for Josh Carter.
8 plays, 75 yards on the drive, 1:14. They did not take much time at all. Of course, the Colonel defense was in more of a prevent, but we're going to see an onside kick here.
Hand steam will come out for EKU. Josh Carter has done a little bit of everything, even dislodged what would have been an interception at the goal line. Standing right between the K and U in the middle of the field. Kick from the 35. See what Uvae Dove can do here. Knuckleballs it, and nicely covered by Marcellus for EKU. So Marcellus with the touchdown defensively, and doing a little celebration, giving him a little CPR there before he gets off the pile.
He's had a big day, but I tell you, Gabe Fletcher has had a tremendous day for this defense.
Little jig there at the end. Did you see that?
He's dancing.
Well, there's a tradition at EKU that stretches back to Paul Hampton on a return trip in the 1960s from a win at Marshall when they started this old folk song from the hills, Cabin on the Hill. It's totally changed the way they sing it. It almost sounds like a rap tune now. They sing it after victories in the locker room. Telly McAllister will come in at running back now as the Colonels try to close the door on a 28-17 win with 1:13 to go. Montgomery out of the backfield. McAllister threw a hole down to the 35. And I tell you, Telly McAllister, he had a chance all against Moorhead and went for 7 carries for 66 yards. Scooter Jackson makes the tackle. They call the timeout with 1:04 to go. When the other team calls the timeout, doesn't raise the white flag, you got a shot not to be taking knees right here because they still have 2 timeouts left, so you got to run your offense.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to try to get the football back by they have 3. You're not going to be able to put them on the mantle and take them home with you on that plane ride, so you might as well use them here at the end. And I think it gives a young team a lot of experience. Lance Anderson is doing what he can to bring these freshman young players along, and they're really getting a trial by fire as they've had to step up and in place of a lot of injuries that this Utah Tech team has suffered this season.
Walt Wells said we're going to try to establish a run today because it has not been there the last couple of games. They've done it with Carter, a season-low 18 passes by Morrissey. 19 is high. Montgomery in at running back. Off to the right they go. Powering forward is Montgomery, the MTSU transfer. Fumble at the end, but they had already blown the play dead just inside the 30. And now another timeout.
The ruling on the field is that the runner's forward progress will stop.
To Utah Tech.
First down. Charge timeout. Utah Tech, their second. Take 30-second timeout.
Again, they're going to use the timeouts because at this point, Anderson is using these situations to teach lessons to his younger players. So they're learning. So he's using these situations. All right, you know what's coming. Let's see if we can learn a lesson or two.
See Peyton Collins, 51 start in a row. Didn't start his first game. Graduate student. Parents are 2 lawyers up in Ohio. Got a shot at the NFL. Yeah, you saw Lance Anderson really talking to his defense there, teaching there at the moment. They've got a timeout left, under a minute, 28-17 EKU. It's McAllister up the middle for a yard, and they'll burn their last timeout. Classy move by Walt Wells, not trying to run it up here at all, just run the clock out. W is a W, and they'll take it. They get Wells to 26 and 25 at his record, but 19 and 5 at home. And against FCS opponents, 25 and 17. He has had to play in the 5 years he's been at EKU as the head coach, 9 FBS games, win 1 of them. And job done for the guy. It's his birthday.
You think he'll have a milkshake tonight?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Spike it a little bit, maybe?
I would not doubt it. Eyebrow raiser or 2.
Football at the 27-yard line.
I just want to mention at the end of that play, Vince Munlin. Munlin, that right tackle over there, he's so steady and has been all season long, really, and he's had a pretty big game today.
Tyrell Grains played pretty well. Now the Colonels will take the knee. As anybody will tell you, the best play in your playbook when you can take a knee late in the ball game. You see that play down in Texas where high school team was trying to run it out, kind of muddled down there about the 3. The ball popped out, and the other team returned it 97 yards.
I've seen that one, and I've also seen the one where they knew that the victory formation was coming, so the defensive lineman went through the legs of the center and got the ball before it got back to the quarterback.
EKU will take one more knee, and they'll get a homecoming victory. They've done it all 5 years. Walt Wells has been the head coach. Utah Tech put in a valiant effort today before losing by 11. They'll go to 0-9.
That is the end of the game.
0-5 in United Athletic Conference play. EKU improves to 4-4, 2-2 in the conference, 4-0 at home. They go on the road to Tarleton next week. UCA will be out in St. George to take on Utah Tech. Jim, a good ball game. EKU needed a lot of help from the defense. Offense outside of Carter, but Utah Tech, I think some things to look positive. Got to look at the positives when you're rebuilding.
You know the one thing they did not do today, the offense? They didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That is big. You have a game manager that Morrissey's the kind of game manager you want him to be. He took care of it today, didn't turn the ball over.
Ducky, Lottery final score here today in Richmond is 28-7 EKU. For director Katie Atkins, Greg Stadelmeyer, along with Jim Tyree and Wes Chandler, saying so long from Richmond, Kentucky. All games airing on the ESPN Network, streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Now stay with us, radio listeners. The Stockyards Bank and Trust Post Game Show next.